Studio 110.live, Friday afternoon, back at it. Busy day today around here, around the studio. Got a lot going on. Got a big show on deck for this Friday afternoon. In fact, I think I'm staying on an hour longer to make everybody happy. We got our weekly cannabis segment. I got our first special guest right now on the line. He goes by Barely Alive. He'll be at Base Canyon coming up at the good old Gorge Amphitheater this summer. Looking forward to having him on the show. Real quick, before we get to our special guest of the hour, I do want to talk about the story just came out. Starbucks, a Northwest-based company here, finally changes policy following Philadelphia arrests. Coffee giant Starbucks needed almost an entire month before changing a huge policy in its 27,300 plus locations. The franchise has announced it will now not allow anyone to use God, the writing here was just absolutely horrible. My apologies and computer issues here. Darn it. Well, we're going to get back to this story here in the meantime. It's just pretty much the Cliff Note version of the story is Starbucks has completely changed up their policies after that those arrests went down with those two gentlemen at the local Starbucks in Philadelphia. And Howard Schultz came out with some information, and unfortunately the way the story was illustrated here to us was not correct. So we will get back to that here as soon as we possibly can. Let's get our first in-studio guest, but via phone, Mr. Barely Alive. Are you on the line with me?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, buddy. How's it going?
It's good.
Thanks for
good.
Thanks for joining the show this Friday afternoon. I know you're touring currently with Excision and Virtual Riot, correct?
Yeah. Well, actually, I did a tour with Excision, but that's over now. But I'm touring pretty regularly alongside Virtual Riot. We're going to Hawaii tomorrow. Just hitting the usual spots this summer. And Base Canyon for sure is one of them.
Nice. So let's learn a little bit more about Barely Alive. You've definitely been on the scene for a while, and you got a pretty large fan base, especially up here in the Northwest. You tour all over. Of course, you're coming to Base Canyon, coming up here at the Gorge. We'll be giving away tickets for that bad boy. So just kind of get us caught up to speed with everything you got going on.
Like you said, I'm always in the Northwest, like playing Seattle and like Portland. I did Paradiso, I think it was a couple years ago, and so I'm really excited to go back to that venue. And we've just been working on a ton of music. Got like a lot of new originals, some new collaborations in the works. We're just like sitting on a ton of music right now, and it's super exciting.
Good. And will you be up here before the Base Canyon show, or the Base Canyon show is your next stop up here in the Northwest?
I'm pretty sure that's the next one. We are going to the Portland Rose Festival, which is coming up. I think I think it's this month or next month, but it's really soon. So, I mean, not Washington, but it's pretty close.
And talk about how you were ultimately discovered, man. How did you get your, how was your pathway created for you being an artist and an onstage performer, in the music business for the whole EDM scene?
Oh man, that's a crazy thing to think about, because I feel like when we first started putting out music, it was kind of like this golden age of the internet and SoundCloud, where it really wasn't that as proliferated as it was today. Where there's like tons of new artists popping up every day. So it was kind of just like a really good time, and we didn't have any local scene where we were growing up. So we just started blasting stuff out on SoundCloud and emailing labels and stuff, and it was like the time was ripe for someone to find us, I feel. So that's kind of how that began. The internet just discovered us, I think.
And what can you tell us about for people that have not been to Base Canyon, just the whole kind of vibes and what the fan base can ultimately expect when Barely Alive is up there doing your thing?
Well, I know for sure there's gonna be a lot of heavy bass music. I went to Paradiso and it was awesome. There was the wreckage stage there was like mostly like heavy bass stuff, kind of like what we're doing. Like we're primarily do dubstep and trap and stuff. And from what I know about Base Canyon, it's just going to be nothing but, that aggressive bass music. So if you're into that, if you like headbanging, then I guess this is the spot to be.
And most of the time, that show he probably turns out roughly about 22,000 people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really not something that you're too foreign to. It sounds like most of the shows that you guys are part of usually has that type of audience reach.
It's a special treat for sure. It's not every weekend that I play a show like that. You know, it definitely happens. But yeah, it's it's really awesome to see how strong bass music is right now. That we get these kind of crowds. We get that kind of the Rampage crowd in Europe and all over the world. Like we just did EDC China, and the bass stage there was like one of the strongest looking stages, apart from the main stage, obviously. So like bass music is just like growing and expanding to all over the world. And like Seattle and Washington is like a huge American hub for that, I feel.
And let's talk about the show that you just talked about that you did in China. Kind of walk me through the overall vibes of what went down on the stage set for there.
That was really cool, man. So that was the first EDC China like ever, and they'd done a few other festivals there before, but not with like the whole Insomniac brand and the vibe. But it was really cool. It was a good turnout. The production was obviously really good, and it was just crazy to see like that whole culture like juxtaposed in China. If you know what I mean, like the security was like nothing like you'd ever see in America. There's like a lot of cops there, just in case.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a heck
vibe,
of a
but it was really fun.
heck of a show, man. It sounds like it was a show not to miss if you were representing that country and wanted to come out and see some good bass music, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People were really excited for that because that doesn't really happen a lot there, but it definitely will a lot more in the future.
So, in addition, obviously, to Bass Canyon coming up at the Gorge, what else? What else do you got on deck? Sounds like you're doing a fair amount of touring right now yourself.
Yeah, we've got the Excision show at Red Rocks in Denver. The Portland Rose Fest. A lot of other shows. I can't really name a lot of them off the top of my head because I've been so focused on music, honestly. That's been my primary focus is just like getting all this music done, and now it's starting to pick up again.
There you go.
Like the touring season.
There you go.
But yeah, there we go.
And let's talk about Barely Alive a little bit more, just for people that necessarily might not be familiar in the audience. Just kind of walk me through the overall picture of you guys and your vibes, and what comes out.
Okay, so we definitely love dubstep, and that's kind of how we got into music. So when you go to our show, you're gonna hear a lot of dubstep for sure. But we love throwing in all sorts of extra non-dubstep music like house, obviously trap, even some oldies. I just try to keep it interesting.
There you go. And who are some of your role models? Who are some people that you have always kind of admired and looked up to in your genre of music and the whole EDM bassy?
Yeah, there's been a lot of role models that have like, in the beginning, like when we first started, we were like, it was such a smaller market that like the only people who were really crushing it were like the only people doing it, which is really cool. So that was like people like Knife Party and Skrillex and Kill the Noise, Zomboy. We always just looked up to them as like, these guys are killing it with sound design and production, and we just want to get on that level. And yeah, it's been we've put a lot of work into our music since then.
I had the opportunity last week to have KJ Sawka here in the studio with me, and man, he's just a cool, down to earth cat, man. We talked about everything: music, fashion, the show that he did up here at a venue called Stage, and I had the opportunity to have a lunch meeting with him this past weekend. He's just a great guy, man, a humble guy, no ego, super friendly, shows everybody the proper respect, and It's just, it's just truly
Yeah,
amazing.
he's one of my personal and musical inspirations, for sure. Like I was a drummer growing up, and I was into drum and bass, and it just goes hand in hand. I was watching his videos all the time, and I was super happy when I finally got to meet him. And he's just such a nice guy, like you said, and yeah, really good vibes.
And it can just show you, he had a platform that he just kind of came into in the introductory level, and he was just doing what he was, needing to do to make ends meet, and got discovered, and just knew what his talents were the whole time. And look where he's at now. He's performed, over in front of 1 million people for the ball drop out there in Times Square, and festivals 300,000 people, and you just would never know it. Like, you would never know it unless you had the opportunity to have like a true one-on-one, conversation with the guy.
Yeah, totally.
Well, cool, man.
Personal inspiration.
Cool. I wanted to just kind of get you on a little bit. We're obviously going to give away some tickets for Bass Canyon coming up at the Gorge, cool. And it'd be good to eventually get you here into the studio and carry on the conversation a little bit more, man.
Yeah, it'd be great to meet you in person.
For sure, man. Thanks for your time. Barely Alive, calling me from Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, I'm currently at Ralph's out here in Los Angeles, actually.
Ralph's, the grocery store of all destinations.
It's a great place. All right, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. Take care. You too. Bye-bye. That was Barely Alive. He'll be performing coming up at Bass Canyon here at the Gorge. We'll be giving away those tickets, and definitely trying to cross over a lot more into the the EDM bass scene with a lot of the festivals, Paradiso, and the other events that happen here in the Northwest, and have the proper channels to be able to have these guys on, especially KJ Sawka. Now our guy barely alive, and it was definitely a good conversation, and that's it was a good Friday afternoon kind of opening segment to have the guys on here. All right, so let's welcome let's get him down and get our next in studio guest here. It's a very busy show today. We got our cannabis segment, kicked it off with music. We're transitioning into more music right now, and I want to get our next in studio guest here. If you guys want to come close to the mic, and welcome to the show here at Studio 110. It's good to have you guys in here. Just introduce yourself for me, guys.
I'm Chad Red Light of Dawn.
Cool.
And musician, podcaster.
Nice.
Author to be.
Nice.
Yeah, daddy.
So it sounds like we got a lot to talk about today. So Julianne, I know someone that works here on our crew here at Studio 110, was excited for you to come in, and you got a lot going on.
Yes, sir.
So what are the priorities? What are the main things that we want to fully illustrate today for on-air executional points?
Yeah. I think for me, it's music is a point of alchemy. Mm-hmm. It's a point of bringing spirit and healing into the world, and I really intentionally use music as a force for that. Yeah. In addition to that, too, I'm starting a podcast right now. It's called Dip Yo Cup with Red Light of Dawn.
Nice.
And that's a lifestylist podcast where it's all about just bringing in amazing people and talking about life and music and shadow work and going deep and being vulnerable and real with everything under the sun. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't released yet. I'm in the process of loading episodes into the chamber. Right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
When do you expect to actually kick off the show? When's the first show going to be on deck?
I'm thinking like late June.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the process of doing all the back end work right now, like the website and marketing and all that good stuff.
And where will you be broadcasting from?
iTunes and YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. Where are you going to be at? Where's the studio though going to be? Where are you going?
I out of my basement in Fremont.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got it all set up. You got mics and cameras and lights and.
And a little bit of a story about the podcast. So we start the day. I have a wood burning sauna and a saltwater hot tub in my backyard. So we start the morning with just kind of a self-care human optimization segment of the day where my guest and me off camera, off mic, just have a nice morning where we do like a nice ritualistic sweat. and just chill out and really get to like get into the vibe of outside the world and get to know each other.
Yeah.
Then we go and have some lunch, and we take that vibe and we go into a podcast, and hour and a half conversation.
Good.
And then we take it from there and we do a segment that I call Crash Tracks.
Okay.
So we do it. We have 2 hours on the clock to make a song from beginning to end.
Nice.
So we start it and we finish it in 2 hours, and whatever we get in that 2 hours, I edit down and we'll be releasing with the podcast.
And most of the time, it's probably successful. Most of the time, you can get a bang around in 2 hours.
It's actually really beautiful and magical because you have to get out of your own way and not second guess decisions.
Yep.
And so it's been really beautiful for helping me just with my own process of making music too, because a lot of times the one thing that damns us is ourselves getting in our own way of being creative and second guessing our decisions and things like that we're executing in the studio.
Absolutely.
So.
And there's really nothing worse than someone kind of getting, building, you're building the platform, you're trying to create something, someone kind of steps in the middle and, wants to critique all day. And there's nothing wrong with, constructive criticism, but, when you're in the zone and you're focused and you know what you want to put out, just, everybody should be standing to the side, in my opinion.
100%. And trusting that, as musicians that have been playing our whole lives, a lot of us, like, trusting that we have the abilities and often, there's the factual things like all the time and energy and the hours that we put into our craft and having the ability to facilitate it. And often the thing that will come in, the mix that will muck it all up will be our mind, and slow us down. So it's been really beautiful just to trust and know that, like, I'm just going to lay down all these parts. And like at the end, you can always go back and edit and change things.
Absolutely. And who do we got here? Who's our other special in-studio guest here today?
My name is Ryan Waters.
Okay.
He's a beast.
Okay. Yeah, and I've known Chad for a number of years now. We've made music on a couple of occasions, and he just called me down to come check this out.
No, I appreciate it. So you're more the producer?
No, I'm a guitarist, I guess, by trade.
Okay.
Tour with a lot of folks. I'm not the greatest self-promoter. So
Can I do a little promotion for you?
I'll let you take care of that, Chad.
All right, so this cat right here, how many years did you play with Sade?
I started in '99. Still going.
Still going?
When she
up.
comes down off the mountain and decides to bless us with another record, I'll be there.
And there's this little kind of semi-well-known musician that left us, Prince. Played with Prince a little bit too.
I did get to work with him for a few years.
Yeah.
So.
And Liv Warfield.
Yes, I worked with her by proxy with Prince. That's kind of, he executive produced the record, and she sang with him for 9 years.
Yeah.
So,
I usually have a flight plan of bullet points that I'm able to study, and I know there was some mix-ups here on the producing side, and so my apologies to on behalf of not having the full scale of information that I normally have when I have guests here in the studio. But let's just touch on. I mean, one of the best live shows that that I've been able to witness so far since I've been in the business was, and I went to both of them a number of years ago when Prince performed at Key Arena.
Right.
That was an amazing show. I mean, just how he got up on that stage and he just literally tore the roof off that thing.
He was the best.
I mean, I don't think there was a better artist, of our timeline that represented, the music that he provided to his fans globally.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll ever be replaced.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
So when you had the opportunity to work with Prince, just kind of walk me through what did that look like? Was that at his shows or?
So, well, let's see. I think I had the really good fortune. I was a fan first and foremost. He was kind of the beginning and end of why I even started playing music in the first place. So I knew this singer called Liv Warfield, and I've known her forever, maybe 15, 20 years at this point. And she got the gig singing for Prince in early 2000s, maybe 2004-ish. And then she started having aspirations to do her own thing. And so she brought me in as her guitar player at that point. And Prince was executive producing the record, and he sort of endorsed my involvement with her, and we were writing, and so I kind of got to work with him as opposed to for him which he's notoriously tough on musicians, and so I kind of got to avoid that part of it. And he was always very warm and welcoming and great and creative, and I kind of got to just be like that around him, as opposed to having to work for him and be under the microscope of do it like I want it kind of thing.
And I heard that about other people that have mentioned that about him. He was very the jump bar was very high.
Yes, he was an intense cat. But it was the greatest experience that I could have as a musician, and it definitely pushed me to my limits. And and especially now looking back on it, it's just kind of one of those things that having had that opportunity is something that is exponentially more meaningful now than I could have ever
Did you ever have the opportunity to be in Minneapolis at the studio? Or
I did, yeah. I spent quite over the last leading up to when he passed a couple of years ago, the 3 years leading up to that, I was there once a month for a while. We would rehearse there and record there, and the whole thing. So.
Will you go back now? I know it's turned into a museum. Will you go back now and just kind of see how they've turned it around, or
I was just there. I've been back a few times. I haven't been back to Paisley Park yet, just because I have my memories there,
right,
and to see it as a museum. I've heard they've done a great job with it, and I know some of the people involved. So I'm sure that it's great. I just don't really have an interest in. Maybe one day I'll want to check it out. But
and kind of walk me through just the vibes, the daily vibes when you were in there in Paisley Park with Prince. And I know he was definitely an intense artist. He knew what he wanted. He knew the projected sound that he wanted to send out to his iconic global fan base. Just like when he'd be in the studio or he'd be recording or writing, like how many people were around him? Just kind of paint that picture for me.
Well, I think it varied. I think he was the kind of cat who could do it all himself. So I think if he wanted to do that, he could. And then when I worked with him, there was an 11-piece horn section involved with the project. So that entailed a lot of people being in the room and creating, and he loved that. He was an amazing producer and arranger, and I think, and so when I worked with him, it was more in that, and he was more involved in working the live show with our project. And when it came to studio stuff, he was just kind of, he funded it and facilitated it from afar, and then would make adjustments, do this, do that, and we'd go back in and do it. So.
And then how did you two ultimately hook up? How did you guys two connect up here?
We both were in a group called Luke and the Lovingtons.
Okay.
So there's a cat, Luke Renal. He's a local Medhow Valley guy and phenomenal musician and philanthropist via music, has done just amazing things. He just finished up doing a project. What's it? The Goodness Tour?
I think so.
Is the project. So he's doing, he was just in Puerto Rico. He's basically created an anthem with the people of Puerto Rico, making a song that they facilitated through his production, and is using that song to be funding solar power for houses in Puerto Rico. So he's always been that kind of cat. We came together through being in that band together. Mm-hmm. Ryan, I was in that band for a couple of years. Ryan, I was playing keyboards, and Ryan came on board, played guitar for a few months.
Yeah, it was pretty short, yeah.
And we hit it off right away, because I grew up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we're the same age, and we just right away kind of had this like understanding.
Almost the exact same age. I think our birthdays.
Yeah, 2 days apart, right?
Wow, that's close. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just had kind of a brotherhood from day one.
And it was soon. I think I stopped playing in that band when I started working with Prince.
Yeah.
And so I started being out of town quite a bit.
Yep,
so
yeah.
I had to.
So I wasn't actually incorrect when I labeled you also as a producer, because that's kind of an honorable title. Like you kind of were to a degree. I mean, if you're in Prince's studio and you're helping produce music, you're a producer.
I did. I got to co-produce, I guess.
So you kind of. So I was correct when I labeled you as a I mean, not an executive producer, but a producer. I mean,
yes,
you definitely were producing. So
I've produced records for other people and for myself. So yes, I guess I can add that. To
And let's talk about just some other records that you have produced in addition. You mentioned Sade, you mentioned Prince. Who are some other artists that you had the opportunity to work with?
Let's see. I lived in New York for 10 years, and in the 90s, so I founded a collective there with a good friend of mine named Jeremiah Hosea, and we have a collective called Earth Driver, which is actually still in existence in a kind of an esoteric way, but I started that in the 90s. And then I worked with an artist named Olu. Excuse me.
That's right.
And let's see, that kind of went into the Sade gig. I got that gig through my association with him. Then I moved to Atlanta, so I worked with, I did some stuff with CeeLo, did some stuff with Dion Ferris, a singer named Anthony David. It's all escaping me. Just a lot of.
It sounds like you worked with a lot of artists.
ATL cats, and then I did another tour with Sade in 2011, and which time I moved to Seattle with my family. I've got 2 kids, and my wife's an artist, and I grew up in Portland.
Okay.
So we always wanted to get back to the
I love
Northwest,
Portland, man.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine is a firefighter down there for Portland Fire Department, and I haven't been down there in a little while, but it's a great city.
Yeah, it's great. No, I wanted to get my kids back to the Northwest, and Seattle it just fit. So.
I almost consider Portland the Northwest too, to a degree, but it's definitely not completely labeled as the Northwest. It's south of Washington.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel like? You guys representing different genres of music. You guys definitely have different labels in terms of what you guys present and put out. But with that being said, what do you think we're lacking here? Speaking of the Northwest in the music scene overall.
Good question.
That's a great question. Well, there's a huge underground funk, R&B, soul scene in Seattle that I feel like has never really broke the plane. I mean, for a long time, some cats that, like, I've been playing drums in Thaddeus Turner's band for about 8 years called Thadalac, and Thaddeus is like a monster.
He is.
Monster producer, guitar player, singer, keyboard player. He's like a multi-guy. He's also the band director and guitarist for Diggable Planets.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's doing a lot of stuff, and there's just a lot of cats like that, like the whole Funky to Death crew out of the Sea Monster.
Yep.
It's kind of always been that way. Mock-Tube was a big, Thaddeus was also in Mock-Tube, but Mock-Tube, Reggie Watts, who's now gone on to be, a huge success through the Late Late Show and comedy and stuff. He was the singer for Mock-Tube, and like they got close, but kind of the thing in the Seattle music scene is like, if you want to get big, you got to leave. That's always kind of been the funny joke inside of the scene, So I feel like lacking would be a support network for live music across the board. Soul, funk, R&B has always kind of, like I said, just kind of been under the radar a little bit, and I would love to see some more of that get some recognition. Yeah. But to me, a big thing too is that regardless of the genre, I feel, my personal opinion on it is that music being a vehicle for something bigger. Like we were rapping in the car on the way here, and Ryan said something that really rang true, is that, we were talking about our buddy Luke that we share that connection with, and that there's a lot of musicians that are amazing, phenomenal players, writers, and that's just not enough anymore. Like having a bigger purpose is super important, like having a message and an intention. And so I want to see more of that from people too. I want to see more deeper lyrics, more authenticity, more vulnerability. That's what I dig in music, like stuff that gives me goosebumps. Like,
Yep. Yeah. How about you?
Let's see. I guess I'm kind of an outsider of the Seattle scene. I've just kind of came into it, and then I don't work in it much. Most of my work is outside of Seattle, but so I feel like I've kind of got a outsider's perspective, and from that vantage point, the thing about Seattle that kind of trips me out is there are so many musicians and so many creative people, and it seems like everybody you meet either plays or writes and I think there is a really strong support for live music here, and there's so many musicians. But as a professional musician coming here, who I've made my living with music, it's a trip to hear people be like, I didn't even know you could make a living with music. Everybody, it just seems like everybody does it. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a show and everybody's got a band, but I think getting more to your point, the R&B scene, and there are very specific, like jazz is supported. Obviously, rock and roll is really supported in Seattle. But yeah, a lot of there's some great soul and funk and hip hop stuff that just doesn't get recognized and supported in the same way. So I think that there's got to be a way to get that, especially in Seattle, to get the same amount of love that the rock bands get and the jazz cats and all that.
And I'll let you guys both answer the next question individually, however you guys want to phrase it up. But your recommendations, your overall thoughts in terms of like new artists just trying to be able to get out a song or be able to get on stage and have the feeling secure enough to be able to get on stage in front of 20 people or 250 people. And there's a lot of good venues locally that offer that occasionally on slower nights. You got Substation, you got Nectar. There's different venues around the marketplace that do that. Just from you guys, though, being artists and being able to have the fan base that you guys have been able to attract up to this point, just your thoughts and recommendations for up-and-coming artists.
Want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, these days, there's just so much out there, and to kind of stake your claim in the vast expanses of the internet, I think so many people trying to come up now are trying to focus on the sensational first. What's going to get me noticed? What's going to make me stand out? And sometimes the music is secondary. And I think that you really have to do it because you love it. You really have to do it because you're just compelled to create. And I think if you're in it to get rich or to get famous, there are ways to go about that. And I think music is secondary to that ambition. But if you want to be a musician, I think you just have to do it, hell or high water, and just commit fully and see what happens. That's been the only thing that's worked for me.
And we all have people that have created pathways, opened up the door to be able to expand careers and put careers on the proper channels and horizons. So, for example, or for you, who was the person that really kind of believed in you, who gave you your start, that you always kind of credit?
Oh, man. In a lot of ways. I mean, growing up, I had a guitar teacher who really facilitated me getting out and getting comfortable in front of people and playing. I think in my professional career, it'd be a cat named Stuart Matthewman, who was Sade's chief conspirator and sax player and wrote all the stuff with her. And he saw me play in New York and offered me the gig. And that just changed everything because I always just saw myself as a cat being in bands and never really saw myself as a musician necessarily. And he sort of gave me access to that career and changed the trajectory of my career. And then since then, obviously Prince, and working with him was a whole other plateau for me. But at this point, it's just kind of anybody and everybody, though, even just meeting you and Luke, and that was just being new in Seattle, seeking other musicians out, and you get a gig and you meet folks and they inspire you to.
It's all about networking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
What do you guys still hope to accomplish that you guys haven't had the ultimate opportunity to accomplish yet? In your individual genres.
I think for me, I'm working on a solo record that it's Red Light of Dawn, Chronicles of an Urban Warrior, Sector Infinity symbol. And the intention of that is that there's songs I've written in the 90s, and there's songs that I'm still writing, and I'm going to include all of it. There's songs that have been in my head for 20 years that I haven't recorded, and I'm like, I got to record these songs. So for me, I think that's my biggest thing, is like a chronological documentation of what's inside of me. So that's my biggest goal right now with music, is to just get this out of me the best way I can. Like I mentioned, I have a studio in my house, so I'm just down there every day digging deep and just recording. And I'm going to release probably in the fall, but that's my goal, is to release that and put together a band around that, and just take it to the fullest level I can with my vision. Yeah.
Good. How about you?
Let's see. I'm involved in a number of projects now. I still work with Liv Warfield, and we're in a band now with Nancy Wilson from Heart.
Yeah. Before you tell that story, I don't know if she still lives up the hill from where I live, near the Volunteer Park vicinity in Seattle. But back in the day, I would hear her and her sister jam out up there on the hill, and you'd be able to hear it all day. They'd be able to they'd do their band practice sessions, and I'm not sure if they still live in that house or not anymore. But
well, she's down in LA now, but I think she's toying with the idea of coming back. But yeah, they are. Heart was a Seattle institution.
Oh yeah,
and Nancy and her sister had a bit of a falling out a couple years ago, and so she called Liv and I, and we started a band. It's called Road Case Royale. So we did a record, and we're kind of in the process of touring behind that and promoting that. And I'm also still working with Liv, and we're working on a new record now. I think we're looking to record it live actually in the UK sometime early next year.
Cool.
So, yeah.
My guys who I manage, the High Children, I don't know if you're familiar with the name, Jason and Jamal. They're kind of like a, hip hop, dance, top 40 kind of mashup group, and they've been doing their thing. They're in rotation, full rotation on C89.5 out here. And one of the members of the group, Jason, is out in London right now at a kind of a music entertainment conference that he's heading up over there. So he's been sending me pictures of the High Children on their big stickers and banner placements all over the city. So
nice.
If anybody can do it, and I'm sure you won't have an issue when you get out there. And it's a good place for music. Cool. It's definitely a good place for music. Good vibes, good studios, and a lot of good producers out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know those guys well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Children?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a part of a group called Marmalade.
Yep.
And they come through and they'll do like sets with us. Like when we take our set break, they'll come through and do the middle set.
Yep.
Yeah, great guys.
Just got good talent, good stage appeal, and the fans come out. They're bopping their heads side to side, left, head, front and back, and they're doing the thing. Let's get back to the podcast show a little bit more that you're still developing, and just kind of walk me through the kind of the full flight plan of what that's going to look like.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, the morning kind of human optimization, vibe building, decompression. And my goal with it is to release content based on just anything under the sun with lifestyle. I mean, right now I've been recording a lot of musicians, but I want to have a bigger variety of guests on my show. I don't want to be stigmatized into it being about just music, because I feel that like a big part of the show to me is the crash tracks and making music with people. And I want to be able to do that with people that also are uncomfortable making music and haven't made music. And because I believe everybody has music in them, and it would be really fun to like just help bring that out and have these cool experiences together.
Yep. And that's what it's about. It's about proper collaborations and just helping people out. I think that's the best way that people can really get their starts and true starts in the business.
For sure. And a big intention is I just want to have awesome, beautiful, interesting people on that are sharing their knowledge and wisdom of whatever it is they do with their life, and just have that, bring it out to the people.
So it sounds like your show then is going to primarily be focused just on a music show for the most part.
Not necessarily. I want to, like, I have a scientist from the UW who does stem cell research booked. So that should be a really fun, interesting show.
That'll be a good segment.
I have another buddy, Leo Treadwell, booked for the show, and he's developed an entire language on phonetics, where when you're driving around town and you see like a stop sign, the phonetics of the stop sign trigger thoughts inside of you that are self-empowering, and he's developed this whole language around everything that you see, kind of reverse marketing. So that's going to be a really awesome conversation to talk about that kind of
Great.
stuff. So yeah, I would say the intention to me is just knowledge and wisdom and sharing that with all these beautiful people that I know in my world, and hopefully lots more people as I build the podcast. People that I don't know will be coming to me, and yeah.
What are your guys' thought process on record labels in general? Not only, of course, staying with the times, going more digital, but not really focusing on, investing into artists to put full-fledged albums out and just really, putting out, a single here, two there, and see how it reacts, and just kind of develop a small marketing campaign around an individual artist and then see where it goes.
That.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's the way to do it.
I think that's the new industry. Like getting back to that question you asked earlier about advice to up and coming or anybody. I think doing the work, is the key. Like focus on your product, make an amazing product, meaning your music, and put together a great marketing plan and work on your craft and work on performing it in your house, wherever you got to do it. And
wherever you got to do it. Yeah.
Wherever you got to do it. And then bring that, hit open mics, whatever you got to do. Get it out to the world, but more importantly, as far as the industry side goes, it's just there really isn't a label industry anymore. Like at least the breed that we are familiar with growing up is kind of dead.
That model is dead. Yeah. There are still labels.
There's definitely still
different.
labels, and they're still signing artists, but they're not putting nearly the amount of dollars and cents like they were into artists today that they're signing. It's just it's a much quicker turnaround campaign.
Yeah. And it seems like it's kind of a reverse thing now where the artists that these labels are seeking have already built up a reputation for themselves via YouTube and Instagram, and have followers and have tons of hits on their videos. And it's kind of more like a sure win for the label to come and strike a deal up and be like, we can distribute you. And what does that even mean anymore? Because now everything is... There's not a lot of hard copies of music anymore. Everything's
and it's a lot easier, like you were saying too. Like once you surpass about 10,000 on YouTube, the checks start rolling in. I mean, you're not going to get huge checks at 10,000, but I mean that's at least a good launching pad to be able to really kick it off.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think Chance the Rapper is like a great example of that.
He is.
Sure.
He is. And there's a few others too, but he's definitely one that has created a special image and a sound, for who he is as an artist, and he's doing his thing. I mean, he's been doing his thing for a minute now, and he's got a good fan base, and also Tech Nine.
Yeah.
Tech Nine's also, he can come out here once a month and sell out a show in a pretty good sized venue too, and he's just got that set fan base here in the marketplace, and he just he keeps it consistent. Sounds like we have to no, not till okay, we have a little bit of time here, and we'll go through these notes here a little bit later. How would you guys define, in your guys' humble opinion as artists, a true dream come true for you guys?
What would be a dream come true, or what has been a
well, both. What would be an upcoming dream come true for you guys?
Oh man, you take that one first. I don't even know where to start.
Let's see. Dream come true for me will be okay. So the way I feel about my life is it's a book that I've already read, and I'm turning the pages, so I can see my future. Already is how I feel. I feel like creative visualization and like full embodiment of absolute like belief is the key to manifestation.
Yep.
Therefore, my dream is my reality, and my reality is my dream. They're one thing, and it's all about just taking all the steps to get there. So for me, it's just digging hard on this podcast, being the best, most amazing daddy I can be to my two kids. Killing it on this record and releasing it and putting together a band and doing some touring, and with full belief and full execution of all the proper steps to get there, and also leaving space for the unknown. That is my dream, is to just manifest all of that to where I can monetize my dreams, to where I am able to support my family and myself with my dream.
That's powerful. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's great. You have you're a lot more intentional with how you go about things, I think, than I am. at this point in my life, I've got a couple kids as well, and I definitely enjoy seeing them
Grow
and sort of, so to the extent that I can nurture and facilitate their growth and, just getting on in this crazy world we live in, that's the most rewarding stuff. I still have personal ambitions, and some of it's informed by just the need to pay bills and all that, like all of us, and some of it is creative, but it's second nature to me to have creative ambitions at this point. So to be able to articulate a specific dream come true is really, it seems almost impossible right now. Which
you're living your dream.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I mean, there's some surreal aspects of how I live, and then there's also just some very pragmatic decisions that have to be made and struggles and all that.
Do you guys want your kids to follow in your footsteps? Or you guys want them to create their own kind of pathway and not necessarily follow dad?
Definitely creating their own pathway. Yeah. The thing I hope to pass on to my kids and that I share with them a lot is just being authentic and real and true and accountable, and working hard. That like whatever you choose to do with your life, it's hard work. Like my son, he's a big time soccer player. He's like a 10-year-old professional soccer player with Seattle United, and he wants to do that with his life, and that's beautiful. And I'm like, well, work your booty off because that's what it takes.
Keep those grades up,
whatever it takes, good grades and dig hard because there's a lot of hungry people out there that want the same thing you want, and not that it's a competition. I think the biggest competition is with ourselves, but just put in the work and be a good person. That's what I try to pass on to my kiddos.
That's a good foundation. A good inner core belief system is just keep your eyes to the ground and stay focused and don't let distractions happen. Because a lot of these kids today in school, they can you get some people representing not the best images in terms of what they're doing before or after school, and it can distract other kids, and then you got a whole big issue on your hands. And I personally don't have any kids, but I have friends that have kids, and it's a full-time job.
It is.
It sure is.
It's a full-time job in itself to be a good parent and create the proper pathway so these kids have a good home and a good school, home, personal life balance.
That's right.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your podcast, and if I can help and with anything in the future, man, let me know.
Thank you.
I'm all about giving back wherever I can give back, and
should come be a guest.
Yeah, I'd love to.
That'd be fun.
I'd love to come by and check out the studio.
Yeah.
Over there in Fremont.
In Fremont, yeah.
I like Fremont.
Right on.
I like going to the Nectar there. It's a good venue out here, Nectar Lounge. My guy Mario runs that spot.
Yep.
And what are some other good attractions in Fremont?
High Dive.
High Dive.
It's a good spot, yeah. So I mentioned Marmalade. We're kind of like a Fremont staple.
Okay.
We started a weekly in 2002 there every Thursday night.
Great.
And it's a soul funk R&B like weekly of improvisation. So we've been doing it 16 years. And
right. How's it going? It's going good?
It's going great.
Good,
It's a wave, it's waves. It's had its really high chapters, its low chapters, and usually we kind of find that coming into summer, it's always a high time for it. So but it's fun. It's a really great night, and
it's pretty great.
That's kind of I would say an attraction in Fremont because we were at the venue Toast back in the day, which then became the White Rabbit.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was like pre-Nectar.
Okay.
And right on the corner there by Habitude, there's like Habitude then the High Dive is like 2 doors down. So we ended up moving to the High Dive, and so High Dive's a great venue, great music venue. Lots of good food in Fremont. Fremont Sunday Market.
So just kind of getting into one of the final parts of the conversation, interview here at Studio 110.live. We saw Facebook, do its thing. It's continuing to do its thing. It's definitely gotten a lot of that negative attention and backlash just with the whole privacy setting issues where it affected a lot of people. You see a lot of stars, all over the world, backing away from Facebook. Really, right now, we're all on the Instagram side of the business, especially with the videos that we can create, as you guys being artists and the proper illustrations that you guys can put out there, in proper depth for fan coverage. What do you guys feel, in your opinion, is the next platform that ties in social media, representing you guys as artists that we may not necessarily have seen emerge yet, but in you guys' opinion, should be the next outlet to really be able to promote and put money in artists' pockets like yourselves.
Yeah, I think there's so many people vying for the answer, and we're all kind of guessing as to what that answer is. I think I can see it all kind of coming under the umbrella of a social network for. I think there's going to be an integration of the Spotify and Apple Music, and also the social aspect of the internet, and I think that's inevitable. How it's going to look, I have no idea, but I can definitely see that happening, and I think there will be a way to monetize and support musicians that way, just through the, cutting out the middleman a bit of Facebook and all that, to where it can just be about the music and musicians,
So out of all the music priorities that you're currently working on, that's on your desk right now, what would you say is the top one right now that's the top priority right now for you to accomplish?
Well, I'm still a musician, at the end of the day, and that's really all I know how to do. And I've had, by virtue of that fact, I've had to kind of, engage in social media or the industry itself. But I'm just trying to get the next record made and write the next song and
be on the Grammy stage.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's and whatever may come is great.
Maybe that goes back to my dream question. Maybe that is a dream.
Yeah, sure. And whatever that dream is, I have no idea what it's gonna be, and I'm just kind of open to it. But to answer your question, it's just, again, the next song, the next record. That's always kind of been my focus. How about you?
I feel like I kind of already answered that question.
Do you think there'll be some more upcoming collaborations between you two that we'll be able to witness and see?
I would love to. I
mean,
mean,
we just kind of reconnected, actually, because we were working together, and then I kind of went off and you changed your direction too, and we saw each other for the first time in years, just a few months back.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm sure we'll be collaborating here quite a bit more.
He's going to come on my podcast, and what I see happen is we'll probably make a crash track. It'll be totally dope, and we'll be like, that's not a crash track. We got to develop that track. And then we'll make a record.
Win Grammys, and
then
it'll be crazy.
It's the Grammy dream right there.
Where were you? Where were you? How did you find out when we all found out around the world that Prince, passed away? Where were you?
I was home. I was in just at my place. I live in Pioneer Square, and I just kind of woke up in a daze and found out like everybody else did. And of course, started making phone calls and trying to find out what was true.
Who was the first person you called?
Liv was the first. Well, I talked to my wife actually first. She was at work, and she was calling me like, "Is it true? Is it true?" And then I called Liv, and just some of the people I knew from his world and the camp, and tried to get as much information as I could. But I'm still kind of recovering from it.
Yeah, man.
It changed everything.
Yeah. My dad called me from Minneapolis, and I was in Home Depot, and it was like that feeling that hits you like instant shock / dream feeling.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, did you hear your buddy's dead?"
Oh man.
Like that's how he said it to me, and I'm just like, "What?
Yeah.
Are you talking about?" And he's like, "Prince," and I'm just like, "What? No,
Oh man.
there's no way. He doesn't die."
Yeah.
And I still feel that way. Like it's probably like how people felt about Elvis back in the day. Like
Sure.
he doesn't die.
Sure.
And losing Michael Jackson and now losing Prince, somewhat recently. I mean, these guys will never be replaced.
No.
People can try all they want, but there have been some that have gotten fairly close, but no one will ever be able to really carry on the legacy as much as people want to. I think the next person, if there's anybody that would be to define or label someone with that vibe, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion and thoughts, would be Bruno Mars.
Sure. Bruno's amazing, and it's we were kind of talking about this earlier. It's guys like Prince and Michael they got to come around and do it first, and the industry was there to support them, and I think that happened, and I'm happy to have been alive when it did happen. I don't think it's going to happen again.
No.
You know, and as great as Bruno is, he'll never have the opportunity to be as original as those guys were. He's great at doing it, you know, and but can he be as creative and original and
I don't
do
think
his
so.
own thing? I just
Yeah.
it's redundant at a certain point.
Yeah.
Which is
I think my
just going to
favorite
be.
thing about Bruno, I saw him at the Gorge a couple years back, and was the feeling where it was like, this is a real band.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like these guys are clowning on stage and just having fun
Yeah,
and just
right.
being crazy and fun, and you could really feel the authenticity of how real that was.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, I've had the chance to see bands that did a lot of the same stuff as like the Bruno Mars band, like The Time would be a good example of, you know, they're pulling a lot of their dance moves and stuff from The Time, but like The Time was fun, but not fun like a bunch of dudes just
Yeah.
doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Like it really felt like I don't even. I'm lacking the words, but yeah, wonderful show.
I mean, the one cool thing that I think that Bruno Mars continues to do is not only the stage performance that he puts on, which is iconic. I mean, he just lights up the stage on whatever performance and venue that he's, standing on that stage representing. But he also like takes artists under his wing to a degree. Not like Cardi B, for example, needs any assistance, but he grabbed Cardi B, put her on, a 14 city tour. And, now he's doing a couple records with her. And you can see that he doesn't have to do that, but he's doing it just because he believes the success in her in terms of the vibes and the image that she's putting out to her fan base. And I think that's cool. I think, it's definitely a plus that he does,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I see kind of what we're talking about when we talk about Prince and Michael Jackson. I think they did it as well as it can be done. Yeah. But I still think hip-hop and I can see that going places that we have no idea, and some of the cats that are sort of leading the charge there, and just like what Kendrick's doing, and even what Childish Gambino did with that video, and where we can start seeing that integration of what's happening with music and visuals and all that. I think we're just scratching the surface as to where the industry is going to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think like Gambino and like Anderson .Paak are good examples of really genre-less music.
Yeah.
They're singing, they're rapping, the music, it goes EDM sometimes, it goes hip-hop, it goes rock, it goes funk, it goes all over the place.
Absolutely.
And, you go see Anderson .Paak and it's like he's singing 1 minute, he's rapping the next, and then he's like tearing up the drum kit the next, you know, and it's just... I love the unclassifiableness.
Yeah, and I
of
think
it,
that's where it's headed. Because kids, especially, they don't have their allegiance to the genres that we did. They don't define themselves necessarily with that. They're open to everything because it's all there. It's all accessible. Your
guys' thoughts on, just some of the recent remarks that Kanye West has come out and said, and, also the thoughts on him putting out 2 albums, pretty much, side to side, back to back, one with Kid Cudi and one by himself.
Yeah. Boy, I might have to back out.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of like intentionally out of the loop with media these days. I've been really just trying to stay in my own lane and not focus on the media. So I honestly don't really know about any of the comments that he's made.
Yeah, he's made some comments, and he's known to just be all about publicity and all about tying publicity into Kanye West.
Yeah.
And no one should be surprised. He's been doing this his whole career. He came out and said Donald Trump is a brother to him, and he loves Donald Trump, and he was wearing the iconic Donald Trump hat, "Make America Great Again," and he's seeing how well that'll do for him. On a publicity angle, reflecting these 2 upcoming albums. So
right.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Any shout outs? Any shout outs that you guys want to give to anybody before we close it out and we have you guys back in? Probably next time we do, we'll maybe do it in your studio, man.
Hey, that sounds fun, man.
Do a little co-branding experience,
That'd be
live
great.
show. Yeah.
Let's do it.
It'd be fun to do it.
Love to. Shout outs. Shout out to my kids. My kids rock. Marlo and Neela.
There you go.
Yeah. Shout out to Marmalade, shout out to Thadalac, shout out to Surrealized, and all the good, funky, soulful, hip-hop, soulful music in Seattle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've shouted out everybody I need to. 9 and Kayla, my kids. haven't dropped enough names.
Well, I want to sincerely thank you guys for coming by the show today, and it's always a pleasure, man, to have a guest like both of you, but someone like who's had the opportunity to work one-on-one with Prince and Sade and some of the biggest artists of our time. So I hope we can carry on the tradition, and there's always more to talk about. And enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, you guys have nothing but fun planned for the weekend. Hopefully, it'll be a nice weekend out here in the Pacific Northwest. But until we see you guys next, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and appreciate you guys coming in. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
For sure. Until we get our next in studio guest here, this story has been on my mind. Erica, you can get these people all headphones on, please, and ringers down on your phones. Starbucks finally changes policy following Philadelphia arrests. Coffee giant Starbucks needed almost an entire month before changing a huge policy in its 27,300 plus locations. The Bruin franchise has announced it will now allow anyone, of course, to use its bathrooms. According to reports, Starbucks made the decision this week following last month's Philadelphia location arrest of these two African-American men. It was a very bad situation for Starbucks. Howard Schultz, executive chairman of Starbucks, cited the new policy at an event hosted by the Washington, D.C. Think tank, the Atlantic Council, on Thursday. We don't want to become a public bathroom, but we're going to make the right decision 100% of the time and give people the key, because we don't want anyone at Starbucks to feel as if we are not giving access to you to the bathroom, he said. According to a transcript of the panel discussion, we want you to be more than that. That's coming from USA Today, sitting down with Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks Coffee. Within minutes of them arriving, a manager called police, of course, after the men declined to leave the premise. This is what happened that day, because they said they were waiting for their acquaintance, which they were. An attorney representing the men at the time said the person they were scheduled to meet with to discuss a real estate project arrived about the time the police did. CNN affiliate KYW reported, and of course, the video of the arrests went viral. They were later released, and they, I'm not sure why this happened, but they settled with the city. I think that for $1 each, it was a $2 settlement. Most people would have settled for millions and millions and millions after an embarrassment and after a situation like that, when you're just waiting in a Starbucks for a friend, and then you get yourself landed in handcuffs for real, absolutely no reason. So about time Howard comes out and gives his thoughts on what went down with that big arrest. All right, my guy Snog, my new weekly sidekick here for our cannabis weekly Friday afternoon takeovers that we do 2 to 3. Thank you for all the hard work that you've been providing for this big show, Studio 110.live. Last week was a great show. Excited for today's show. Last week we had Vivian in here.
Yep.
We had Jake the Professor in here. We had one of my guy Diego's bud tenders from help me out with the name.
Diego Payson.
Diego, correct.
Yep.
Diego.
Harley.
Yep, Harley. And who else was in here last week?
Oh, goodness. Green Rush was with us, yeah.
Green Rush was in. And it'd be cool to do that live show maybe one of these upcoming weeks or months at his headquarters.
We're all about it, man.
To be able to do a cannabis show like that. So looks like we got a lot of special in-studio guests here today. So
we do.
Welcome everybody. Give me the introduction and tell me what's on the flight plan today.
You bet, man. We had we had a cancellation on it, unfortunately, but when we were trying to get another guest, we came up with 2 guests, and that's Timmy. Timmy was just happened to be on his way down here.
Great.
And he's with Cannabis Saves Lives, and he does actually all kinds of things. We just met, and so he's going to be a great guest to talk to, and he has a lot.
Yep.
Linda here is the owner of Red Entertainment, right?
Okay.
Right.
Red Entertainment Magazine.
Great.
Yeah, and she's got a bunch of stuff going on that she wants to talk about. And this is our bud tender of the week, actually. He's from Ike's.
Nice. Ike's.
Ike's, yeah. Ian was in here not too long ago, right?
Yes, Ian was in here. Your boss, Ian, is a friend of mine. Talk to him pretty regularly, and I always see him crossing the street up there in the CD.
He's always at that corner.
Always.
Man,
If you can pull that mic a little bit closer to here, so we don't get too much background noise. But Ian,
and he's everyone's favorite uncle.
That's right. Ian is a great guy. Which location are you at? You're at
The main store, CD and Union there.
oh, okay. Right. So his office is right above from you there.
It is right there.
Yeah, it's got a nice little
He's
office.
always watching over us.
Yeah.
Always.
How often does he come in and stand there with his kind of cocky smile in the back of the back?
He's a busy guy, man. He's
Yeah.
always running back and forth, but got to make sure operations running smooth.
Yeah,
you know?
there you go. And shout out to his your guys' head of marketing. He brought her in with me.
Oh, Jen.
Jen.
Miss Lanzador, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Jen's great. And I wanted to stop by on 420. You guys had that big event there in your parking lot. I couldn't stop by, but I know you guys had food there.
It was absolutely crazy, man. We had a petting zoo out there. You had an ice cream truck. We were giving away stuff all day.
Nice.
It was a blast.
There you go. If you don't mind just pulling that mic so it's like kind of right in front of you, so it's not to your side, that'll definitely be good. And let's talk about. So you have a company called.
I am Red Entertainment Magazine. We
Okay.
are a multi-level media platform. We have
Okay.
radio, we have television stations, and we have a video magazine.
Nice. How long has that been in existence?
So it's been kind of something that's been building
Okay.
for the last 5 years. I started as a DJ at KJRG
Yep.
on the Puget Sound Underground.
Yep.
And then just kind of evolved. I started a little magazine called Heavy Metal Northwest, and at that point I thought, oh, I'm kind of boxing myself in, so I rebranded and we started Red, and so about 2 years ago, and it's just kind of like been building. My partner, who is the developer, Mark Byron Lane, he's out out of San Antonio, Texas, and he has done an amazing job of just taking my dreams, my image, what I wanted, and has completely built it.
Good.
So that's
Wonderful. And he's no this guy right here is no stranger
No,
to
definitely not.
to the show. He
Yoshi. Yeah.
Yoshi's been in. You've been consistent. You're definitely you know where you got to be Fridays at 2:00. So always good to see you. And let's help me out here. Timmy. Terrible names. So I can remember random phone numbers all day and all night, but when it comes time to names, I struggle. You know, we all have things that we need to work on. You know,
I'm working on like remembering names myself actually as a salesman.
yeah, there
Well,
you
why
go.
don't you introduce yourself, Tim?
My name's Timothy Edwards, also known as Timmy, the hip hop artist. I'm with One Eternity, and
Nice.
I'm also the president and CEO of the Cannabis Saves Lives tour.
Great. Well, welcome to the show. So, what's on the docket today? What's our focus? What's our agenda?
Well, we're just here talking to these great people. We have another person who's actually coming up as a musician, and Jesse James.
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's a local rapper from the area.
Yeah. If it's
Yeah.
the correct one, then absolutely. Yeah, I know two Jessies, but well, as soon as he walks into the studio, I'll know. So.
Yeah, but we're just here to talk and hang out like normal. You know what I'm saying? I'm anybody who wants to. I don't know who wants to kind of.
Well, I'll kind of kick it off. So let's
there you go.
let's talk about.
Let's go with our bud tender.
Yeah, let's talk about bud tenders, and there's always new products hitting store shelves, and it's your guys' responsibility to be up to date on all the new products that come in, and there's a wide range of them, and especially now with all the pens and everything that you guys saw there at Uncle Ike's. So just talk about how I'm sure you all in your own kind of creative niche way. Have the proper education, for the new products and the new launches. So when people come in and they ask questions, you have the answers.
Sure, man. I mean, like you said, ever-evolving market, something new every week. I was actually even talking with Yoshi a little bit about how I feel like in Washington, people slowly need to smoke stronger stuff because they've been at it for so long. Their tolerance is slowly climbing. So I see a lot of people go more towards oil and concentrate stuff, which I freaking love. I've been doing it a while. That's kind of my expertise, if you will. But that lubricant has become very popular as of late, which is a weird one.
Really?
Yeah, we sell a lot of the stuff.
Let's talk about that. What's that about?
Infused lubricant. I would definitely say it's more for the receiving end of the half. For Valentine's Day, we got like a big batch of it, and a lot of people kind of got tipped off to it then.
That's the last thing you would think about, though, at an establishment like Uncle Ike's.
It's some lube, right?
Right.
No, we sell a bunch of it, man. It's attached to a local. She's like a dominatrix or some kind of. She's been in that industry.
I just never
in
would have
Seattle.
guessed that would have been on a store shelf at Uncle Ike's. I mean, you guys are a prominent top-notch, cannabis, retailer,
Sure. And kind of like you said, we got to stay competitive. And if everyone else is carrying it, we want to have it too. Ian is always sure to see, what's next on the horizon. And,
Yeah, you got to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
What are some like if you had to kind of classify, top five all the way down to one, the hottest selling products right now on the store shelves at your location?
Pre-rolls for summer are huge, man. People in Washington want to be able to just open the box and light it up. You don't got to do any work. It's all done for you. That's actually what I was talking about, Yoshi, about was infused pre-rolls. People like stuff that has a little more kick up to it, like some concentrate on it.
Definitely.
For summer, that's huge, man. You want to go hit alki and just spark up, sit on the beach, not have to worry about it.
And what's number 4 on the list?
Edibles don't do quite as well as I would always like them to. The state has a limit on potency where you can't go above 10 milligrams a dose. And as a regular user, as myself, as I'm sure some of the other people here can speak, 10 is a drop in the bucket if you're a regular user, man. You need a lot more than that.
How about 3, 2, and 1?
See, I'm a big oil smoker, so I buy a lot of it, but it is a little expensive. So probably put that around like 3, and then just good old-fashioned bud, man. They love weed in Washington. It smells good. It looks pretty.
Do you ever get customers coming in that can, purposely trying to trick you? Like they know the answer, but they're trying to like see how educated you guys really are behind the counter?
You get a good portion of the customer base. I mean, they have a pretty good knowledge base on their own, but a lot of us, especially at Ike's, I can say, like, we're nerds, man. I'm constantly researching more. What's the new method of extraction? If growers come in, I constantly assault them with questions. What can I do to learn more from them?
And how long did it take ultimately to be able to just learn the full craft so you feel comfortable when people are coming in? And you might get, you get hundreds of people in there every day, if not more,
On a day like today, you'd probably get a couple hundred per bud tender. I mean, I definitely started accumulating it earlier in my life, but I'd say I'm confident at Ike's. 6 months in, you get a pretty good knowledge base.
And becoming a bud tender is not an easy job. I mean, there's probably a lot of people want to do it, and from what I've heard, it's very competitive, especially out here.
You get surprisingly, I'm getting more and more people coming from the corporate world who I don't want to work corporate anymore. I want to come work here, and if it means start as a bud tender for a year or two, they'll do it. So it is very competitive.
And what's normally kind of the second platform once you finish being a bud tender? What's the next platform that ultimately someone like yourself would want to be involved with?
Trying to move up within the company. I mean, Ike's does a lot of outside marketing and branding, and we try to carry on to like local events and stuff that are happening. So kind of do community outreach stuff, or if you want, you go try and represent a vendor. I know my man's a salesman over there.
Yeah, man. I actually had a question as far as like, since I got you here, and Ike's is a big deal, and it's one of the stores that I've been trying to get into.
Let's go plug away, right?
Right. Well, I'm just curious as to, for you to share with some insight with some potential salespeople out there who are in the position I am trying to get into these stores. Maybe you can give them some insight on how to get into Ike's, and maybe I can utilize some of that to get there.
Sure, I'd be happy. A lot of it, we touched on a little earlier, was like product speaks for itself, man. Just like if you're an aspiring movie writer, if what you're writing is good, someone will pick it up. If you give me good quality product that's in a branded enough packaging, it'll pull its own value in the market. And the bud tenders, we do a lot of sampling. We give as much feedback as we can to processors, producers.
Right.
If it's something we really love, you'll know.
Okay.
I've read reviews where across the board, everything they gave us, every bud tender just loved it. They're all about it. Some, maybe half the product line did well and half didn't. And we're good to give feedback about what to change. So
nice, that's great. And so like I just was curious also for you to like give your little one more shout out to Ike's. Like what would you say makes Ike's so successful aside from placement and all that? What do you think that you guys do?
Location is awesome. I mean,
right.
Product line is massive. I'd say we have one of the biggest inventories in Seattle.
Yeah,
if you come check out our walls in the store, it's where a lot of people bring their first tourist friends in because it's just a shock. You walk in and you see everything. We definitely try to stay super competitively priced. You'd be hard pressed to find a better deal than anywhere in Seattle than you would.
You know what I love too? I'm sorry to mean to cut you off. I love that there's a car wash there.
There's a car wash.
Right? Because I go to that car wash. I work with an artist in Seattle, and he's disabled, and I take his car there to get washed sometimes. And while I'm doing that, I shoot over to Ike's and grab myself some flour. And so it's kind of convenient that way, in that little area. It's so like populated with people, so I really love that.
And you got Ian has put up signs everywhere. So again, if your friends are in town and you really want to give them the experience, you got the signs that say, hey, Stoner, you missed us around the corner.
Nice.
You can't miss it. You got to see it.
And I remember what the previous location looked like up on 15th Avenue. It used to be an old veterinarian clinic, just an old
The
kind
little,
of
the little corner
the
spot.
little corner
yeah.
spot. And boy, what he did to transform that place. I mean, there was just, in fact, I don't know where I read the article. I was on one of the news outlet publications, and they took a picture on both sides of the corner and how it used to look compared to how it looks now, just with the new shoe repair sign next door and the different bars and florists. And he just did a great job. I mean, if anybody could re-image that, that corner of that type of street and that type of location, it's my guy Ian, and he's done incredible work for the community. And my guy Malcolm Moore frequents, when he's in town, he's in there all the time. And you can't miss him. He's got bleached blonde hair, and he's running across the street sometimes with a motorcycle helmet on, and sometimes with nothing. So, I mean, of course, dressed, but sometimes no motorcycle helmet on. So you can always spot Malcolm Moore when he's going up to Uncle Ike's and getting his product. I know like the reps are always coming in too to like kind of show you guys new and upcoming products. Do you have to deal with that, or who meets with the reps and tries stuff out?
Corey?
Corey, so I'm actually, as one of the store managers, a lot of times they come to me thinking I have some kind of influence in this, and I'm always constantly like, I love what you're doing. I'm not the person you want to talk to. But I definitely get a little tip sometimes, seeing, what they're going to dish off to. My inventory crew is the one who processes that new stuff. But I'll definitely kind of look over their shoulder and see what's getting dropped off in the sample pool.
Any products that are coming out in the near future that you can talk about that the clientele can go and support Uncle Ike's?
Really, the newest thing I'd say is there's PAX has a branded vaporizer pen, and they're just having like 4 or 5 new processors are starting to make little cartridges for it. That definitely seems to be a big thing around here. You see everyone has their little pen all the time, man.
For sure.
And definitely, I'll say the proprietary ones work a little bit better. They're a little bit more expensive, more consistent operating, though, and just cooler features. So I definitely like to try everything out. So I got one of the new ones actually on me right now just to try out.
There you go. And I'm sure
What brand is that?
It's the PAX.
Oh, PAX. Oh, word. Yeah,
I
got the
definitely
Indigo
love
Pro.
the Indigo Pro. I freaking love that thing.
That's what I got.
But I'm trying this to, as he said, be varied with the product. I can tell people how it works.
Nice, man.
So if you're just tuning into the Big Show Studio 110.live, I've got my guy Snog here, and we do this cannabis segment here Friday afternoons for right now. And we definitely have had some great guests in the studio, and just all different representations, from the local cannabis scene here, from growers to people, the bud tenders, to owners, to you name it.
And we got musicians, artists, brands coming in. We have a whole bunch. We have so many people planned for the future shows. I mean, it's great.
Good.
We have actually Casual Industries I'm trying to get in here.
Oh,
and
tell Dano I said hello, the owner. He's a good friend of mine.
Most definitely. I was just talking to him the other day, and Cut Studios we were talking about, they're going to be in here, I think, either next week or the week after.
Good.
But right now, I think Linda's probably ready to say her piece.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
if you just want to come a little closer to the mic, thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm on a little bit different spectrum. You guys are trying to get in to sell your brand. I'm trying to advertise brand for you guys on Blunt Nation TV. So I've been actually trying to get into the stores for the last year or so. It's hard to get in, and I don't understand why the owners are afraid to advertise, because I have this great platform and awesome advertising for the cannabis industry, but I can't get anybody to talk to me.
Yeah, that is a constant. It's just one of those things you got to keep going and keep going. You can't give up, and then the people see your face and hear your voice enough.
Right.
And like he said, the product speaks for itself. Then it'll happen. And what do you do with your December and Red, the band I manage? We were going to be on your podcast, right?
So like I said, it's a multi-level media platform. I have there's the Secret Stash Radio, which is obviously it's a podcasted radio show. It does run 24/7, and I do live broadcastings like out at the cannabis stores and dispensaries. Yoshi was a guest several times out at Urban Bud.
Okay.
We had a lot of good times there. The Blunt Nation TV. I'm really trying to work more towards television.
Now, when
producing.
you say television, do you mean you were talking about Roku earlier?
Yes,
right?
I am.
Right, you have
on
2 Roku stations.
Mm-hmm. Blunt Nation TV.
And you're not doing anything as far as like with the internet or anything, the web, like doing web series or anything like that? Is it just specifically like for Roku and all that?
So, pretty much, I'm looking at producing music television.
Right.
So I have MVTV.
With like music videos and
I do.
Nice,
I do.
nice.
So,
Okay.
so any of the artists that you work with, you guys have music videos, hit me up because we'll put them on.
Word.
Um,
Well, what's like really what the big thing you're excited about for the future right now, aside from what we've already talked about?
God. So we have so many new features. So we've kind of like doing this whole redesign. So we're gonna kind of like, I guess, relaunch Red.
Okay.
We've added a social media function. We kind of took like a lot of people. I heard a lot of people talking about how they missed MySpace. How they
Right.
were kind of tired of the bullshit on Facebook.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
And the fact that, you know, a lot of people had their information mined, right? So we decided to add a social media function.
How's that working out for you?
Well, it's working great. I mean, we're trying to get people to sign up. It's free, safe,
Okay.
and it works kind of like a blog, right?
I see.
So if you, like you say that you represent or you work with December in Red and you work with a lot of artists.
Yeah.
If you have an account with us, you can write a blog, or you can, and if it's good, we'll put it on the front end.
Okay.
If you look, we have the show right now on the front end. We have iTunes distribution. If you go and look, we have little tabs, so you can click onto that and you can go right to the iTunes distribution page.
Nice.
So there's a lot of really cool features we're really excited about. I mean, it's the radio, the television, the social media. So it's just like there's just so much.
And are you guys like working with like promoting for like summer festivals or anything? Are you working with anything like that, or?
So, well, last year we were present with Scott McKinley there with
For Hempfest?
For Hempfest.
I was there.
I did a lot of filming for Blunt Nation TV. This year, hoping to be even a bigger presence at the Hempfest. So
Are you guys sponsoring or just as a like a media pass?
kind of as a media? So.
Right on.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Were you filming the High Tune stage last year?
Yes, I was.
Okay. My
Yeah.
buddy was performing. I was up there for a second, hanging out and doing some things.
You know what? I probably have you on film.
I'd like to see that.
And I think going back to your original question that you asked him about just the lack of efforts in terms of you having the brand that you're trying to represent and taking them into these different retailers like Uncle Ike's and like Diego and different establishments around the city. And one recommendation that I always give to people is, and they don't know how to properly necessarily translate to what I'm about to tell you, is when people say no, you just got to turn those no's into yeses.
Right.
And by doing that, you have to be creative, and you have to re-image, and you have to have a proper professional storyline. So
Right.
if the product isn't being properly allocated to the retail storefronts and store shelves that you're ultimately trying to get to, then there's ways to be able to do that, whether it's rebranding or having a proper team in place that might have the relationships
Right.
with these owners.
Right. So you're absolutely right. One of the things that I've kind of felt is that possibly a lot of the owners are afraid because of the laws and the restrictions that they have placed on them by the 502 with the advertisement. But however, I am not regulated by FCC. So everything that I broadcast is through the internet. So we've been successfully advertising, number one, iTunes. We've got iTunes commercials running on Blunt Nation TV for probably 6 months now, successfully.
Good.
Radio ads. We have pop-ups. Like we can do a little, branding pop-up that will come up during one of our Blunt Nation television shows. We have a huge following. Blunt Nation, we have about close to, between both television stations, about 500,000 viewers.
Oh, wow.
Daily. So it's,
Good.
and then with the Secret Stash, about 40,000 local listeners daily.
Good.
Okay.
Here
yeah.
locally.
Well, that's
So-
nothing to
No.
yeah.
That's nothing to be ashamed about.
No.
So
For sure.
No,
Yeah.
I would
absolutely not.
focus on what you're doing with these types of numbers and these types of shows that you're producing and putting out to the public for all these different awareness tips, and I'd put those other things kind of on the back burner. I mean, if you got something already good that's working in the proper transition for you and your brand, I'd focus on that right now, and let the other things just kind of fall into place like they need to accordingly. That would be my recommendation, but you can you can do as you obviously you see
Right.
best for you.
Well, one of the I guess the biggest exciting things is that I'll be able to really commit full time with Red because
Right.
I've been a student and
Film, right? You were just talking about that.
So I am getting my film degree
Right.
and communications degree from the University of Washington.
Awesome. That's congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a very big.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, it takes a lot.
Yeah, especially because I'm 51 years old.
Right.
So yeah.
And it's just one of those things. I always feel like it's never too late. So I love stories like that. Just like for me, like I'm 40 now, and like I didn't
It's
start
never
kind
too
of
late.
like no. And I love that kind of stuff because people need to know that. They need to understand that just because you're here doesn't mean that you can't change it for tomorrow. So I love that.
And that's one of the things that I really kind of hope, I guess, that to do a lot of work in the community and giving back to the community because I was a street kid. I
Me
came
too.
I came in off the having a 6th grade education, so all of my life I labored, I worked, and
I feel you.
and you don't ever get above that minimum wage.
Yeah. But you just got to like that. So
Right.
that's where I'm at. I'm just like reaching for that thing. And I really don't know what it is. I'm just reaching for it. And I'm not going to stop until I grab a hold. So, right.
Follow
So there
your
you go.
dreams,
You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? So we're all on that same path. And I think it's good. People like you and I feel like are necessary to motivate other people like us to
absolutely.
go after it. Because it can be done.
Oh,
And it's
absolutely.
hard.
Yes.
No one gets anything for free.
Right.
And nobody gets anything without working for it. So if you're out there listening to this, just keep pushing. And
Oh,
I know somebody
absolutely.
who has a lot knows a lot about adversities is my buddy Timmy here, and we were just talking about that earlier. Didn't you want to? I don't mean to cut you
No,
off, Linda,
we're
but
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just
I
kind of
wanna
was
hear
hoping
that.
to segue here. So go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, I was
man.
gonna say I can relate to that. I was born with a physical disability, so I've always struggled to find work. I get an SSI check, and aside from that, I'm trying to make something bigger for myself. And I realize that to do that in this world, you have to do it yourself.
Most
so
definitely.
I started my company. I go by the name Timmy, and I started out doing hip hop, and that led me. I opened up for Coolio in 2012.
Oh, nice.
And I used to tour with Rappin' Forte
Yep,
in
yep.
California.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed to meet some people in the
Sure.
industry. But like the segue with my disability, I was born with my arms backwards and my intestines out of my stomach.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't expected to live, but I believe by the grace of God, here I am, and He gave me some talents. And so I like to show people what those talents are. And
Well, God
some of
bless you, man.
that's-
God
some
bless
of
you.
that's music. So I do music, and I mean, I'm pretty open about it, but I've done a lot of drugs and alcohol, experimented things in my life, and cannabis. What I try to educate people about is that cannabis cannot be put in the same category as all these other drugs and drinking. And that's because that's how I found cannabis was, in high school, going to the parties and, hey,
Right.
I got something to make you feel good. Well, it did make me feel good. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is really good, but it's not. But I don't wake up craving it like other drugs because
For sure.
in that portion of my life, I was like, let's figure out what else makes me feel good. And the doctors were pushing prescription drugs. In the early 2000s, Oxycontin was when it, really became big. And for me, it was like, oh, I'm in pain. They're like, oh, you're in pain? Well, here, have any pill you want. But they wouldn't cover cannabis.
Uh-huh.
And cannabis is still, I wasn't medical, but I didn't become a medical patient until 2009. So for me, before all of that, my relationship with cannabis is all like it's illegal. Like I could go to jail for this. It's like going over to Idaho still. If you go to Idaho right now, there's no legalization whatsoever.
Right,
Like,
right.
And for me, it was an eye opener. I have to say this: being in the medical field for so long, of medical marijuana, I was really 100% on like when we changed the laws to the 502. I was one of those people who was shaking my fist like this is so.
Right.
Yeah. Can we swear on the show? No,
I prefer
There's-
we don't,
I know.
but-
I was just. I'm
yeah.
saying there's a lot of
Yeah.
I was really angry at the moment,
Yeah.
and so I took a lot of time going. We need to have medical, and we still need to have medical. We need to have grow for the patients. I was somebody who I have a hard time growing myself, so taking away my rights to grow and having the ability to somebody grow for me, it was something that frustrated me. So in the beginning, I was really frustrated about that, but looking at the way things have changed, I realized that how blessed people in Washington are. Like, we can smoke a joint outside.
For sure.
We can still, I mean, it's not federally legal, but we are becoming a little bit spoiled over here. Just a little bit. Like, because going to Idaho, I'm like, wait a minute, I can go to jail just for
there's people who definitely have it way worse, and
like,
you just like smoke a joint and you're in jail, man. You get busted hard.
And I have to remind myself that it's in other places, it's like that old time, and me having a disability, they definitely, I don't think I'd last too long in jail.
No, I think you'd be all right, man. Jail's, from what I understand, jail's not. I know a lot of people who've been in jail, and I haven't actually, thankfully. But I hear a lot that it's not as bad as actually most people think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong though.
No, it's really bad.
They usually don't help people with disabilities. I know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean, somebody who needs physical help,
For sure.
So, but also for me now, I realize I'm a public figure now, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna talk about this. I mean, I just did Boise Hemp Fest. I'm gonna be going to Oklahoma Hemp Fest.
And what do you have coming up here? We were talking about this.
Oh, yeah. So next Saturday, I'm bringing Afro-Man to my hometown.
Because I got high. The guy. I've had the opportunity to interview him a few times. He's a darn good guy. So.
Yeah, so we're bringing him to Chalet Theater in Enumclaw, Washington.
Cool.
And we're also bringing him to Roseburg, Oregon, June 2nd.
Oh, you're putting him on a little tour, huh?
Yeah.
A little Northwest tour. It'll be good to have him back here, too.
Yeah.
And that's for Cannabis Saves Lives?
That's for Cannabis Saves Lives.
Is the money going made from that going to the organization and like helping people?
Well, I'm not sure. Because right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm still trying to make it in this world. And so, I have to pay my bills.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I get
you.
So
I'm, trying to get to that point. But the one thing I am trying to help people with, and I've been putting on the flyers, is we encourage people to bring bottles of water and brand new pairs of socks for the homeless. Because those are the two things that homeless people need the most are socks and bottles of water. And you can give those to people without getting in trouble. Because there's all these new laws with giving to the homeless that you can get in trouble. For
I didn't know that.
They are in certain places in Florida, they're arresting people for giving food to the homeless. You have to have certain permits.
Oh yeah, no, I heard about that. I didn't know if you were talking locally or national.
I'm not sure about
locally. I can definitely say the people that represent the city of Seattle, they're all for it.
Right.
I was told there's a permit.
If it was up to them, we'd have tent cities in our backyards.
Yeah.
Luckily they haven't gone to those extremes yet, and I don't think they ever will. But this is definitely a town that caters to the homeless, like we should. I mean, it's a big problem. And,
right. It definitely needs to be addressed in some way. It is a little bit, I mean, I don't want to use the word inconvenient. That's not an accurate word, but.
Well, the way it needs to be addressed is, the local mayors and governors of each respected states around the country need to figure out how to deal with their own, quote unquote database of their homeless population instead of putting them on buses and sending them here, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's happened too. I used to live in Humboldt, and Humboldt has one of the most, they give one of the most giving as far as that kind of thing goes. Yeah. And the same situation happened there where the people were busing them there from other states and counties and stuff.
They don't want to deal with it. They just think that we've got some highly illustrated plan into effect where just send them up to Seattle. They'll deal with them.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, and it sucks. It's a hard situation to address properly, because I know there are a lot of people who are on the other side of that, like at the opposite end of the spectrum from who are not super happy, and you're never going to make everybody happy, but I mean there are people that are out there suffering, and if we can do something to help them, then we should.
Well, going back to just the whole conversation where it's a cannabis segment here, and I think he brought up a good point a few minutes ago about a lot of states aren't legal. They don't have the opportunity to be able to go down the street and smoke like people can have the opportunity to here in Washington State. With that being said, of course, we're all familiar with the iconic festival Hempfest, which I learned from Vivian, a special guest on my show last Friday. He kicked that thing off in 1991 with 500 people in Volunteer Park. Now it's over 100,000 people at the park on the water down there by Elliott Bay. And you can just see, the traction that it just builds up for itself. I mean, 500 to 100,000 is quite a big difference.
It most definitely is. I remember going when it was back in the day and thinking there were so many people and just being like, God, there's so many people here. And then you go now and there's hundreds of thousands of people or whatever, and it's just like insane.
It really is insane.
I think he even touched on something funny that I run into every day of med patients versus rec patients, because they've kind of just left med in the dirt, you know.
Yeah.
Rec is doing so well financially for the state that they're like, we'll come back to med patients later, you know.
Yeah.
The store used to offer a discount just for med patients, or even used to go to specific, like the markets, right, where they just openly sell.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the
talking the markets. Yeah.
They've kind of, you know, those are they're coming less and less common. You can't find them anymore, and a lot of what the rec stores have to offer isn't really what a medical patient needs. So
Well, you can't, there are no more markets.
the markets are gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
right?
market. When they changed laws in 2015, that was one of the biggest things. Was they cut the markets out, and it forced all of us to go back to being black market. Mm-hmm. It's either get with the rec stores or go back to being black market.
And yeah, rec doesn't really have what
Like
a lot of the
medical
med
grade.
patients are looking for. Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of the next topic that I wanted to transition into, is just how helpful, you know, cannabis is to a lot of patients that are, you know, dealing and battling different, you know, conditions with whatever they're dealing with, from pain to depression,
Yeah, sleeplessness.
anxiety,
Yeah.
you know, all the common issues that you hear that people are having to struggle with. And with that being said, someone like yourself who's a bud tender at, you know, a notable, honorable spot like Uncle Ike's here, you know, a good Seattle iconic spot to go buy the product at. What are some products that you're seeing patients come in that they're expressing to you as a bud tender that you can maybe share some real life testimonials with me now on the air? From, you know, because I'm sure people, you know, they get probably fairly deep and expressive in terms of, you know, how the product has helped them, and if you can kind of just share with me a couple of those stories.
Sure. A lot of the products more that are kind of like tincture based stuff that you process the product down to a certain point where you get really high levels of CBD or CBG, other cannabinoids. THC is really what gets you. It's what everyone loves. Get you baked, get you goofy,
The
get you
psychoactive
laughing.
part of it.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
weed has a lot of other cannabinoids that really don't get you high. They just offer a lot of medicinal benefits. And when you get to a product that's like a tincture or something you apply to the skin, something you eat and put
Or a
under your
balm.
tongue sublingually, yeah, it really gets you kind of get more what the med patients are going for. Also, you can just get levels that are much higher CBD, much higher CBG. If you just want to come in and get high, I can sell you one of 2,000 products in the store, you know,
Yeah.
but I have a spray tincture that is full of CBG, which is, it's a very calming and really good for a really calming cannabinoid, and it's good for just putting you in a good mood. This girl has she suffers from weird anxiety, kind of gets a little
Fidgety?
yeah, a little fidgety. She says a couple sprays of this will instantly calm whatever she's feeling, you know, and that's the stuff for me. It's funny because I don't really use that stuff as much for that. I'm more of a traditional rec user. But stories like that give me insight and allow me to transfer that information to the next customer that comes in.
Good.
You know?
Good.
What are some positive things about terpenes that you can talk about?
Terpenes play so much into everything, whether you want to get high or you don't. Terpenes are huge, you know. There's this stigma in Washington where it needs to be 30% THC or this number. I will tell you, everyone I work with, we hate that number. It doesn't mean anything.
I've heard that like continuously. Like, you're not the first
People are
one,
like,
for sure.
it needs to be 40%, you know. I'm
Right.
like, if it needs to be that, you need to be smoking concentrate, not weed.
Colorado has 37%. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, guys.
That's not real. Yeah, it's not. Terpenes they have a bunch of psychoactive effects, and each one can be very specific. It's not only just the flavor you're going to taste with limonene, it's going to give you really like uplifting, cerebral kind of high, that kind of effect. So customers always want to come in for a strain specific, you know. I'm more so like, what do you want to do when you get high? Because I will give you a strain that's good for this activity, you know, depending whatever it is. So terpenes is a good point. A lot of people don't ever bring in that into the equation.
Well, because it's not just a lot of people think, oh, well, you smoke weed and you just get high and that's the end of that. And it's not really. It has a lot to do with, I mean, for me anyways, I can't speak for everybody, but, you know, I know that, like, if it tastes like ass, I'm not going to really enjoy myself.
Exactly.
You know, if it doesn't smell good, I'm going to get a little bit not so happy about it almost these days.
Plus, like, you know, with musicians, I'm a music writer myself. I'll smoke some strains that give me great creativity, really good, like, uplifting energy, awesome for writing. I smoke some stuff that makes me want to just sit down and not do anything and just appreciate music more, you know? You got to go in with what kind of like Znock said, go in for what what do you want to do?
Not to get off subject of you know, cannabis, but strawberries have terpenes in them, and strawberries are like an aphrodisiac.
Correct.
Terpenes work on the brain many different ways than just
Exactly.
in the weed. And
Much
you
like if you're eating
yeah.
like oysters, it has an aphrodisiac element to it. You know, we're just a lot of producers even will make cartridges where they add terpenes from other plants and elements to get the desired effects they're going for. So usually it's for flavor, like strawberry
Flavonoids.
ones, but
When you were talking about the different things to give different people, and you can't give medical advice in these stores, but even just telling people, like, say if you want to try to come off of hard drugs, like when I was coming off of the upper hard drugs, I started to smoke a lot of sativa, and I had to have sativa because it's the uppity, and it's that same feeling gives you that energy, and so I smoked a lot of sativa, a lot of dabbing. But if you're coming off of, say, pharmaceutical drugs, more the opiate, you're probably going to dab, like the indica, like really heavy indica. And I know people that have anxiety, and I've seen people like, oh, you have anxiety, try this sativa. And I'm like, no. And they'll smoke it, and they get a headache, and they, have a bad day. And so, and I know I can't tell people medical advice because I'm not a doctor, but I definitely will tell people this is what helped me get off those drugs was, But now I don't really use sativa as much because I'm more of an indica user because I use it more for pain now.
You know what's weird is I smoked my whole life, man. I mean, honestly, I've been smoking since I was 9, no joke. And when I was younger, I smoked. I heard the indica and sativa thing, and I just was like, I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. It's weed. It's just weed to me, And then I don't know, man. It was like a couple of years ago. I started realizing the difference. Something snapped or changed inside of me, where it happened to me. I was in California for my birthday, and I was just smoking an oil pen, and it was the sativa. And we were driving on our way to breakfast, and we get there, and I'm like, I gotta go use the restroom, and I'm in the restroom like freaking out, looking at myself in the mirror, going, what the hell? And I thought I was having like a heart attack or something, I go out and I tell my wife, she's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, man. I explained to her what's going on. She's like, you're just having an anxiety attack. It'll pass. And it did. But then I realized, like, the next couple times I smoked, and it was sativa, I was having, if it wasn't going full-blown anxiety attack, I was having at least a little one where I started to feel odd or uncomfortable, And so now I just stick to indica, and I don't test the waters because I don't want to go through that. I don't know if any of you have been through one of those. It's pretty terrible.
So I kind of have an amusing story when talking about medical. I have stenosis of the spine, so I have had several neck surgeries. Matter of fact, my last one was 3 months ago. They put 22 screws, 2 rods, and 2 plates. So we're talking about like some serious stuff going on. Last year when I had my neck surgery, they removed some bone, and I'm there on a morphine machine, like pushing it every 8 minutes. My son brings me in some tincture, and he's like, here, Mom, puts it under my tongue. And I called up the nurses, and I said, take the morphine machine off. I mean, it was that powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've gone through all of my surgeries. I don't do opiates.
Nice.
So,
I do terrible with pills. I have never really been a pill person as far as like. So thankfully for me, anytime I've ever taken any kind of prescription pill, I get like every side effect that you can get with it. It's so strange, and it's like I feel like I'm floating. All the lame stuff that could happen, it happens, and I just can't. I'm not cool with it.
I'm afraid of it. My sister died of opiate overdose in 2009.
It is an issue. It's a problem for sure.
It is. It really is.
Slippery slope.
Yes.
As they say.
Yes.
It just goes back and forth when you become addicted to that stuff.
For sure. Yeah, no, and it's a hard thing to kick. I definitely have dealt with addiction in my life. As a younger person, I've been sort of out of that since I was about like 18 or something like that. But it is, and it's a difficult thing. And so, I mean, that's what the best part about cannabis for me is that, being involved with it, something I've always taken great pride in is that, not only are we helping, there's people with medical conditions who benefit from it, but artists, musicians, people with the depression, all these things. It inspires, it heals, it soothes. People derive so much different kinds of benefits and pleasures from it that as a person who was growing during the medical days and now in the 502 days and as a salesman, I really take a lot of pride in being able to provide that inspiration and relaxation and the medical benefits to people. So it makes me feel good. It's like one of those things that, when I was younger, I just didn't want to get involved with anything that, I don't know, violence or anything that hurts people, like severe capitalism or something. When I started choosing my direction, it's like, well, what do I want to do, And I can't see where marijuana's hurt anybody. Aside from like the obvious, like, if you're a drug dealer and you have all those things going on, black market stuff, most of it has to deal with with it being illegal, because people, those kind of that kind of
Absolutely.
darkness comes from that. So I'm just a firm believer in it helping people, and I love hearing all these different stories from everybody. I'm sure he does too.
I think more people have been hurt from marijuana because of corporate greed than actual reasons of it being a plant.
Right. No, exactly. For sure. I don't know that it's been, for a plant. It's just always about greed and legalities and all that. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
And you hear about, remarkable stories that I like to share, especially on, cannabis related, topics when we talk about hearing those on the show here at Studio 110. Live, and Ricker, a friend of mine for many years on Seattle radio, he mentioned a story where he had an issue on his left or right cheek,
Right.
and he supplied different levels of oil-based cannabis products on his cheek, and he did like 5 or 6 different applications, and it just went away on its own.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go to a dermatologist or have to be accrue big medical bills, and he just and it worked for him. And when you hear about true, that's why I'm really into testimonials, to actually hearing real true life stories where it really does benefit people and really help people, just like the story you mentioned, that massive surgery you had where that they put you on that medication in the hospital, and you told them to get it out of the room, and you took it upon yourself, and it helped you. So that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, actually, this last surgery, I was prepared because I knew that the oil was going to help, and so I just kind of took in my oil pins, right, and I could do it right in my. I don't want to say it, but I was dabbing on the oil pin right in my room.
Right in the room there.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it, is the inconspicuousness.
Yeah, we always tell people very discreet, especially visitors from out of town.
Yeah.
They're like, how do we keep it, in the privacy setting? I'm usually just like, use your head, be discreet, look around you. You'll get the vibe from everyone. So
As long as you're not being obvious, nobody's looking for that. When I was a kid, man, I remember just being freaked out, about any small odor, or if anybody might be looking at me and see me doing
you're sitting in the car rolling the blunt. You're just every 5 seconds you got to be like,
Yeah,
there's a cop somewhere.
I
can
love that
smell
that's
him.
gone. And I think even though it's still illegal, if you just, I've walked down the street several times smoking a joint. If you're not looking around and being a freak about it, nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. And then so
So I was gonna say, on our way to Boise Hemp Fest, we got profiled. As soon as we crossed the border from Washington to Idaho, we were pulled over within 5 minutes. And the guy goes, "You know why we pulled you over?" And we were like, "Well, why?" He goes, "Well, you're going 69, and the speed limit is 65." And we were just following the person in front of us. And he goes, "Well, that person was going 61." And I was like, "Well, wait a minute. I'm not gonna argue with the cop because I'm just trying to make this go better." But the first thing he goes, "You guys have any guns or weed?" And we were like, "No." And he goes, "Well, you got any meth, crack, or heroin?" And I was like, "Wait, that's your second question? You asked that was the all right."
that should be the first question, right? Yeah.
But yeah, they still profile over there.
My son lives in Boise. Yeah, and he's a rapper over there, hip hop artist.
What are some upcoming promotions that are happening at Uncle Ike's that the fans need to know about? Any good incentives? Any new any little percentages off? Anything to help the people out there in the greater Seattle area come into Uncle Ike's? Or
Ian's always usually pretty good to give you. You get 10% off if you pre-order all the time, which we're doing, and now we have a rewards program on there. Apparently, yeah, you're saying I got some sales running. You get these texted all the time. That's what I was saying. If you're in the sales program, other than that, for summer, man, I mean, just keep your eye. Usually every week, every other week, we drop something for everybody. We know when the nice weather hits, it's kind of a given that people want to smoke up and go have some fun outside here in Washington.
So let me ask you a question: are you or any of your fellow staff members representing kind of the bud tender side of the business? Are you creating your own 25 to 30 second viral Instagram videos talking about products? Can you guys do that, or is the red tape says you guys can't do that either?
There's a lot of people that do professional bud tending where you kind of have a Instagram account that's strictly for just vendors will kind of coax you into repping their products a little bit more than you might really want to. I'm not really big on the social media thing at all. I was telling him earlier, I was a touring musician for a few years and used it heavily. I can't stand it now. I don't even look at anything Facebook or Instagram related.
Right. I hear that a lot.
But definitely, you're right where you have to, man, if you want to stay competitive.
Yeah.
I know they blast social media with a lot of advertising. I know you're saying that's kind of what you're going for with
Blood Nation,
yeah, more of the TV side of things.
Right.
But definitely, I mean, we have amazing success getting through online. That's really where you tap the advertising market. So.
Any upcoming fun events happening? And going into summer now, you guys got that big parking lot down there off of 23rd and Union.
I don't know. I can't think of anything specific. We just had our big 420 one, which was the one I think my store is still recouping from that event.
Still cleaning up from it?
Yeah, that and just so much product we had. The store got flipped upside down for the whole
Were there
thing,
reps, were there actual reps there at the event, talking to people in the crowd, talking about new products and giving out samples?
They had some samples out there. You could do some uninfused stuff, some uninfused edibles and stuff there. I think someone is even messing with some uninfused ice cream they might try to bring to the market if that's a possibility. So leave
it to Ben and Jerry's to probably do that. They'd probably.
Oh, I would love to have it come from them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why? I mean, it's almost seems like the possibilities with it are endless. I mean, when you think of not just cannabis and that you smoke, like weed, to get you high and stuff.
It's everything else.
But like hemp and all that stuff, they just all like hempcrete and all that stuff. There's so many different uses. So I feel like that the possibilities are endless.
One of the newest products I've seen is actually a patch for like low, slow release. So you could put that puppy on at the beginning of the day and.
Right,
you get
the benefits
all work shift long, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They just keep it just as like innovative. It's one of those industries that's just like people are on it, for the next thing. Bam, bam, bam. So
and there's a lot of stoner MacGyvers out there, so they're
for
always
sure, and that's the
something.
best part, man. Like is that growing up as a kid, I always was making my own bongs and doing like inventive things to make stuff, and so now you get people that they can make a whole business out of that, and just come up with crazy stuff, So I love it. I do. I really do.
Well, I'm hoping that I know there's a lot of red tape, especially when you're owning and operating a store like Uncle Ike's and like Diego. Shout out to my guy Alejandro and all these different key retailer representations and ownerships out there. But I just hope there will be a day, and I know you guys can do it right now, and I know it's a huge deal. But just to be able to sell a couple T-shirts and hats, actually in the store.
Well, you guys can't you?
We have it in our little glass shop.
Right, in the glass shop.
But you're right. There's some kind of weird separation you have to have because I know some of the other dispensaries have a whole clothing line they offer.
But it has to be
separate.
It has to be across the street
a
practically.
Secondary store, yeah.
Yeah, you have to cross the crosswalk to be able to go support these guys' branding efforts.
And especially if you're talking people coming to visit, they love buying Ike's branded shirts and stuff, take them back home, show them to all the friends,
Just like me, I like going to breweries. When I go to breweries, I always grab a shirt while I'm there.
Or a mug, a pint glass.
Right, something like that, yeah. Just to show you we're there. And especially as like a tourist, someone coming from a place that doesn't have it, they could be like, oh, I was at this shop. You know what I mean? It's a thing, so.
That'll be something, I think, as the industry moves forward, we get more just momentum behind us. They're going to start breaking those walls down.
Well, Budweiser, they market, the alcohol brands market. In the beginning, I can promise you that when Prohibition first ended, they weren't nice to the alcohol people. They were just as hard on them. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And it just takes time. And it's just we're slowly getting there. When I was a kid, he was just this insane worry. And now I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? And so it's changed a lot in the time that we've, it's since I was a kid. So
sure, and even just every 6 months, man, I see a new turn where we're allowed to do more. They give us more freedom. Prices continuously keep dropping, which I'm very happy with. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that.
Of course. Well, it looks like we've got someone else in here with us. It's Jesse James, right? Yes, sir. Ah, man, we're friends on Facebook. We actually haven't met in person, but we're affiliated somewhat. Would you maybe want to? Yeah, that'd be great. So we can get him on here before we got to get going. I'm sorry, we probably don't have a whole lot of time for you, but I'm glad that you came out. And
it was last minute, man. So,
yeah, man, I super appreciate it.
Most definitely.
So why don't you tell everybody, what your name is, what you're about. Just formally introduce yourself.
Yeah, how you guys doing out there, man? My name is Jesse James. I'm an artist from Seattle, Washington. Just stopped by, man, to check these guys out and see what they had going, and hopefully let you guys get to know me a little bit.
You have any new projects, like any recent projects you are doing, or any new music you just dropped or about to drop?
Yeah, I got a project coming out. It's called Supernova. I'm planning on dropping it late summer.
Okay.
It got features from Kevin Gates, Tory Lanez, a rapper from California named Mazdi. It's got got Raz Simone from here, King Lee's. Couple guys.
You work with Swish sometimes, right?
Yeah, most definitely. That's my guy.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you in some pictures and stuff. And so we just had him in here 2 shows ago.
2 weeks ago, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, man. I don't know if we've ever officially met, but I've known who you are for a while.
Yeah, I met you at what was it? Taj. You know Taj, right?
Yep.
Taj,
Yep.
Yeah, that's my close friend. But You was at
I hosted that show, a Little Baby and PNB
Lil
Rock.
Baby, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, at the Showbox Soda. That was a good night. It was snowing left and right. The First Avenue was covered in white snow, and people stayed out in support of that show. It was a good show. Taj was out there, Huey P,
Yes, sir.
Lil Baby, PNB Rock. So that was a good production. It was good to see the Northwest come out and fill up the Showbox almost in its entirety. So that was definitely a good look, and
Nice.
be good to get you back on one of our upcoming Mondays that I do here on the show are what's called Mic Drop Mondays.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we do get a lot of artists in here play appropriate music and really get behind the branding efforts. So,
Oh yeah, man, that'll be a pleasure.
yeah, for sure. It'd be good to get you in. Anything else that we didn't touch on today for the cannabis segment that we want to let people know? Why don't you get on here briefly about your show with Afroman?
Yeah.
So yeah, next Saturday, May 19th, Chalet Theater, Enumclaw, Washington.
Okay.
Afroman, Timmy, Big Buzz. This is the Cannabis Saves Lives tour. General admission is $20, $35 for VIP, which includes a meet and greet after party afterwards.
Word.
Well, I hope it sells out for you and all the money goes to a good cause. And Afroman's a good guy, so hope it's a good, successful show for you all around, man. And thanks for coming in today.
And it looks like Linda had something she wanted to say.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So, one of the shows that Blunt Nation that we produce is a tattoo show called Red Ink.
Okay.
We have just recently recreated it. He's merged with a salon, so it's indulge like a rock star.
Okay.
They're having a big event on June 10th. It is at, let me see if I can see this, 13201 C Street.
C Street.
And this is in Parkland, Washington.
Okay.
This is family friendly. There's going to be food, entertainment. So everybody should come on out.
So real quickly, I've got Scott McKinley here on the line. Scott, we've got a few minutes left, but if you want to, I know you sent us a message here, and you wanted to say a few things on the show here today. So Scott McKinley, welcome back on board.
Hello.
How's it going today?
Yeah, I wanted to hit up Jesse James a little bit and say thank you for coming out today.
Oh, most
I
definitely.
just saw your new video that you did with Twister Sleep, and it's getting some nice notoriety. I mean, what kind of videos have you done before to kind of compare to that one?
Well, my last couple of videos, I've been working with this guy named Atwanya Priester. He has a company. It's called A Real Grip Films. We did like 2 videos. I got one that's called One Night. It's probably at like 70,000 views or something like that on YouTube. And then I dropped one last Halloween. It was kind of like a scary movie type video. It had a little plot to it or whatever. I had on the clown mask and chasing a girl around with a knife, and it's kind of like a scary movie or whatever. So that was 2 of the last ones I did, and and then I got this one called Walk, which is also doing really well right now. And basically, I'm just walking around downtown. It was shot by my guy L on the cam. It's a pretty dope video. All of them is dope, man. You guys should check it out. You can find me on Instagram or YouTube, whatever, at JESSEJAMESCTC. Appreciate you.
What are what's the next EP or song or release that you have in mind coming out right now? Do you have any more videos lined up?
Well, right now, at the moment, I have a song that's called Made for This. I'm going to have my guy, L on the cam as well, shoot that. But as far as like the next big thing I got going on is the song I'm going to release with Kevin Gates. I'm dropping that next month. Don't have a release date exactly, but I'm dropping it next month, so be on the lookout for that.
Scott, I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in, Scott. We're under a tight schedule today. I'm actually staying on an hour longer to facilitate some more important in-studio guests here that are on deck for this Friday afternoon show at Studio 110. So, Scott,
I will be back on soon. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you very much. That was Scott McKinley. Thanks for checking in. I want to thank all you guys for coming in today and everything that you guys do to help the cannabis community, from Uncle Ike's to everything Cannabis Saves Lives to Snog to, of course, your network and things that you guys do to operate and help with the cannabis scene here. Who do I have here on the line right now?
Blaze Whitney from Double O's Productions.
Blaze, hey man, how's it going? Thanks for calling in today. I know we might have a little bit of background here in the studio here, but I want to welcome you to Studio 110 Live. Blaze Nova, correct?
Yes. Blaze Nova Whitney, yes.
Nice. Good. Where are you calling me from?
I'm from my house right now.
Oh, you're from your house. Okay. And where's that? Are you local? Or are you where are you? Are you?
I'm in Edmonds.
Oh, you're in Edmonds. Okay. And what do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got on the docket? What do we fill me in and let me know what we're talking about and discussing today?
I was just talking with Erica, and she just wanted to talk about UFC events and Seven Line Show and Paradiso and stuff. Maybe a little bit about our company and stuff. Maybe I guess just start off with my company a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Double X Productions. Been throwing shows for 7+ years now. It's a half partnership. Me and my best friend Corey Kays. It's kind of funny because we started as a rave family. And then we just kind of came up with the idea that, why don't we start throwing these beautiful events that we see around us that kind of enlightened our life and felt like the good energy vibes. So, why not make some money and continue kind of what the, rave forefathers before us has been doing for years. So, and then we've had a lot of good shows. Used to do EDM Wednesdays at the Volume, WAMU after parties there. Split shows with Marble for a few years. Boat parties. We've done a lot of the Islander cruise boat parties.
I love those, man. Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, the Islander. Yeah, it's lots of fun. I've had so many good nights on there. A lot of successful boat parties. So, and then also been working with UFC events. Through our company and our network for the last 6 years.
And shout out to Shad and everybody down there at USC Productions.
Yeah, Shad and Aaron Silverstein, who I work through primarily, who's the marketing manager there, a good friend of mine as well. Tomorrow we got Seven Lions, which is pretty awesome for.
And that's at WAMU Theater,
the whole
correct?
Northwest, and yes, that's going to be awesome. Seven Lions is actually probably one of my top 5 electronic artists, just because how he just mixes so many different styles into one and just makes something that's really unique on its own. So you'll definitely catch me tomorrow. I've actually seen him a handful of times in other places too. Like I saw him at EDC. I went to Tomorrowland with the other half of my company last year, so I saw him way over in Europe and stuff. And so it's going to be that's a huge name, and he's going to be amazing. Why is that? He has 2 sets, so I'm curious that.
Yeah, my new.
There early, so I can catch his.
Yeah, definitely my new buddy who I just recently kicked off my new friendship with, KJ Sawka. I spoke quite highly of him, and I know there's still maybe a chance that he'll be checking in with us today. If not, maybe on Monday he'll be here in the studio, and it'll be good to talk to him about the show. I know the show is tomorrow night at WAMU Theater, and I'm told it's pretty close to being sold out, if not fully sold out.
Yeah. I think they opened up some more and got some extra tickets or something. Saw yesterday. It's going to be a packed out show. It's going to be amazing. I mean, I never once, even before I even really knew about Seven Lions, I remember seeing him and just being like, this guy's doing some serious work. This is cool.
Yeah,
and I just fell in love once I really looked into his music and stuff. So
you're definitely doing something when you got a few million followers on Instagram. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly.
You definitely got a few fans. So
yeah, so you'll definitely catch me in the crowd tomorrow, raving old school. So.
So it sounds like you're a big part of the whole kind of USC EDM scene out here in the Northwest, from everything that's staged.
Yeah, I'm not like at the office or anything, but they use my network because I've been locally throwing shows for a long time. So they use my business network and my business pages and stuff, and and I get a pretty good trade off. So.
Well, cool, man.
It's been great working with them. I haven't had no issues with USC so far, so it's cool. I guess we also wanted to talk about Paradiso because we're doing this ticket giveaway that's going to be coming up here shortly here on the air.
Yep.
It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, Paradiso is amazing. I don't think I'm ever going to miss Paradiso. I've gone every year since Identity, pretty much, and it's just Identity was actually my first major electronic festival, and then. And I've just gone every year. I even did EDC 3 years in a row, including EDC week and all the pool parties. Came back for one day straight to Paradiso.
No downtime.
No breaks, just straight grind.
Well, I told my crew here at Studio 110, and shout out to my guy Levi. I know he's got 4 buses now. I remember when he was pushing 1. He's got 4 now, and I know that the top class one, the first class one, has that big stage. And I expressed to him, and he's going to make it happen. I want to broadcast out there at Paradiso and be right there in front of the crowd and definitely definitely represent it. So whatever you need to do on your end to make that happen, man, please make it happen for us here at Studio 110.
Yeah, Paradiso's been
hey, Blaze.
Amazing, man.
Blaze.
I actually had a cool memory from my first Paradiso when Dylan Francis he came on and he dropped that R.L. Grime Salva Mercy remix. I think it was his first track, and they had just turned up the sound. Somebody was like a little bit smaller before him. I think it was like Nervo or something. They had a little bit slightly lower in volume. They turned up the sound, and I was at the very top of the grass. I started watching like 1,000 or 2,000 people like get up and just literally just run down into the pit. So they just slapped that track, and I was just like one of those big memories, Pretty amazing to watch.
There you go.
So yeah.
Well, if everybody is wondering, if everybody listening and watching right now is wondering why there's so much background noise in the studio, it's because we have a lot of hard work behind the scenes. We're setting up here for a
what up, Blaze? It's Nolan.
Special performance here coming up, and that's why I'm staying on an hour longer today on this sunny Friday afternoon out here in the Pacific Northwest. So looking forward to seeing what's on deck here from our upcoming in-studio guests. Thanks to my buddy Nolan, who always does manage to step up to home plate, when he's asked to.
We had Barely Alive on earlier. How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good, Nolan. Thanks.
William's freaking cool, man. Big Willie style. He's the man.
Yep. So anything that you want to talk to Blaze Nova about here before we disconnect and move on?
Dude, when are you trying to go to like GameWorks and have a drink or something? And
well, that's not on-air topics. That's you guys can talk about that.
Okay,
I'm talking about important things. I could care less.
Okay, so how about this? Hey, how about this? How about this? For Base Canyon.
Well, I guess that before I get off, we should probably talk about the little ticket giveaway a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to announce with me on the air. I know you guys are doing a ticket giveaway. And one of the guys, I know you guys are using promotion, who we are. You guys should definitely throw a vote out for him. One of them, Anthony Bullis, Snowball, he's one of our resident DJs. So, and I think he'll be spinning later on here on the air, like 30 minutes or something.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, this is the ticket giveaway. We'll make sure you.
Yeah. So it's sponsored by Popeye's Energy Drink.
Yeah, I tag Popeye's Energy Drinks to like the Studio 110 and follow them, and I'm sure they'll give you more information in a little bit here.
Yeah, you got to vote. You got to vote for my boys, who we are, in order to enter to win these tickets.
He's the boy. Yep.
Anthony.
So
Blaze is giving you a shout out right now. Say what up.
What's up, Blaze?
There you go.
What's up?
Well, Blaze, man, I appreciate you checking in to the big show here today at Studio110.live, and enjoy enjoy that 7 Lions show tomorrow night down there at Walmouth Theater.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked for it. So, and I'm definitely interested in coming down and maybe, actually coming down to the studio one of these weeks and talking some more, electronics.
For sure, man. Take care. Have a good night tonight.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for checking in. That was Blaze Nova here calling in from his spot in Seattle. Definitely a prominent figure out here in the whole EDM USC configuration. Always good to get guys, like I said, from all different genres of music. Just had my guy Jesse James in here in the studio. One of his videos is approaching 70,000. He'll definitely be back in the studio here again soon. Eric, am I told that I have to take a quick intermission, or are we good? Are we good to go? Okay, no, I don't have to. I don't have to land here for a temporary refueling. Let me look at my my new updated time clock sheet. What do we got here, Nolan? You can help me out here. Step up to the mic and tell me what's on dock next here.
All right, so we're doing KJ Sawka, right? You have the list in front of you. I don't.
What do we got next here on deck at Studio110.live? So we don't have any downtime. Should I call KJ right now?
No, let's talk with the boys right now.
Okay.
and see what they.
So if these guys, if you want to pull that mic closer, and Nolan,
don't be shy about it.
You can be my co-host here, Nolan, and you give these guys the introduction because you know these guys way more than I do.
So we are introducing who we are.
Okay.
And they are competing in the Paradiso opening lineup contest.
Okay.
Where you guys got to vote for these guys so they can obviously win the opening spot. But in order for them to win, we're going to make it interesting. And we want to give you guys something here at Studio 110 Live, because without you guys... Live. Because without you guys, in all honesty, well, then what's the point of doing this? So we're going to give you away a free ticket sponsored by Popeye's Energy Drink. And in order to win this free ticket, you need to vote for my boys in the contest. You need to like Studio 110 Live's page, and you need to share this feed right now.
And I'm going to make you a T-shirt this weekend that says Studio110.live that you'll start wearing. Yep, you'll start waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning knowing the exact pronunciation.
At least I've been putting it on Facebook that way.
You have. I almost called you in the middle of the night and said, redo that post that I saw.
I did.
Yeah, you did. You did. Thanks. I didn't have to actually call you, but I saw what you did. So
you probably ended up calling me anyway, because I literally didn't even get to bed till 3 a.m. because I was doing everything with these guys. I want to make sure my boys win. And Anthony's been a good friend of mine. He's actually supported me when times were rough. And Josh, I've known since we were in junior high, elementary school. He's a very talented producer. Anthony's learning how to produce, and he kills it on stage. And from time to time, I'll MC up there with Anthony. And we've gone to Portland. We've gone to Ohio. I've MC'd Low for et cetera, and Ghastly let me up there on my birthday. And
the good thing about Nolan, ladies and gentlemen, is he is very well. He's connected, but sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he forgets the environment that he's in. So it's kind of. Normally this doesn't look like a fire station to me. It looks like a radio studio, live studio. So I just always have to help. Nolan's a good buddy of mine, but I have to help him sometimes. Say that we don't swear and we don't talk about going to GameWorks and treating each other to random beers on a Friday afternoon show.
At least I'm not drinking a whole fifth of booze right now.
Yeah, that definitely won't happen again. So I'm interested to learn more about you guys, and introduce yourselves again here for me on the mic.
I'm Josh. My name's Anthony, and we are who we are.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys are a group. You guys are partners in crime here.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I MC for him a little bit, time.
And he's your MC. So when he's been an MC in the past, has the crowd stayed immersed in the venue, or have they trickled out with his mic ability?
He's a character. We love Nolan, and he knows how to turn a party up. Let's just say that.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear a true life testimonial about good old Nolan. All right, so you guys are competing for a contest, to my understanding, and tell me a little bit more about this contest and ultimately what you can win.
Well, we're
come a little closer to the mic here.
We're competing in the Paradiso competition.
Okay.
And basically, we need your guys' votes. And if we win, we get to play Paradiso. We get to open up the main stage.
When we win.
When we win. We get to open up the main stage, and it's just been a dream, honestly. Ever since I went to Paradiso, I've been going to Paradiso every year. It's been a thing, and we decided to get together, me and Josh. We got together in April, right?
Yeah. So it's been a couple months.
We've been working on music and making originals and remixes. We've been submitting a lot of our remixes for competitions, and this is like a good way for us to get our exposure.
Good. And how many people do you think are trying to ultimately win this projected title to be able to open up at Paradiso? How many people are in the running for this?
There's probably over 100 people. I know a lot of people are trying to do it right now, and currently we're in third place.
Okay.
So
and what sets you guys apart from the competition?
Well, we make our own music, and I DJ at a lot of the clubs. We haven't really had the chance to play live yet together, but I've been DJing in Seattle for about 4 to 5 years, and I work with Foundation and USC and stuff like that.
And who are going to be the judges? Who are the judges that are ultimately going to make this decision to hopefully get you guys up on stage at Paradiso?
USC Events is the deciding factor.
So Chad is really the be-all, end-all guy that can wave his hand left or right, and he makes the decision.
I think it's somebody up there. I don't know if it's exactly Chad, but I know there's a lot of people in USC that do
could
the competition.
Be involved,
yeah, could be involved.
Yeah.
And how did you guys connect up? Were you guys just randomly at IHOP eating pancakes one night, or how did it come about? So?
It's probably through a good friend of mine, Darius. I kind of met Anthony a few years ago through him, and then we kind of stayed in touch or ran into each other.
That's actually right. We did
we helped out with
we set
USC
up
events.
One of the events for USC, we helped with like building the stage and like setting up decorations and stuff.
Now, have you guys practiced? Have you guys, because like a lot of like NBA players and football players and artists, they practice just, in their home studios or wherever they're able to practice in terms of, having the ability to get up on that stage in front of 22,000 people and perform. I've been on that stage many times, about 15 years actually in a row for Summer Jam. A couple of years we did it at White River, but still, I'm very familiar with the Gorge Amphitheater. And you just got to go out there and you just got to own it. You just there's no needs at all to get stage fright or nervous. You just got to get up there and shine. And this could be the massive opening door that could really take your guys' career, from where you guys are at now to a much higher level. So hopefully you guys are performing and practicing literally a lot. So
we definitely are. We've been
we're putting in hours every day.
Good. This is what we do every day. So.
Good. This is your life. This is a dream. This is a dream come true for you guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So let's talk about the fashion side of it. What are the outfits? What are you guys going to be wearing up there? Because there'll be major screens up there, so everybody in the back needs to see what you guys are wearing.
Probably judging from the heat, probably not a whole lot.
Now, you guys aren't going to have like a custom, T-shirt, matching T-shirts with your names.
We'll probably have some cool
shirts. Probably be a smart idea to have some branding, built into it, right?
Yeah. We're talking to some people right now. We just had some logos made, and we're gonna get some clothing and stuff.
Good.
Yeah, we just got our logos made. Our photographer is actually starting up his own clothing line, and he wants us to be sponsored with him.
Good.
So
Good.
That's what we're gonna go for.
Well, that was my next question leading into it. That if you guys are blessed with the opportunity to open up the festival, what else are you guys trying to conquer in terms of other dream come trues, whether it be other sponsorship opportunities, other collaborations, other stage performances? What do you guys ultimately want to take away from this?
It'd be nice to just start traveling around to different places besides Washington and just playing shows and, potentially getting signed by somebody.
Some label or something, yeah.
So you guys actually still want to get signed because a lot of artists want to stay independent now. The labels take a lot of money and I
think it's not a bad idea to get signed like in the beginning aspects to get your name out there, but don't like sign like a long contract or anything like that.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're going for. We're doing a lot of remixes right now and just just getting our name out there and working on originals and stuff that we haven't released yet, but we have a lot of good stuff coming.
So regardless if I'm at Paradiso the day that you guys hopefully open up the show, and if I'm not there, believe me, I'll have people there reporting back. Look, I'm all about proper trade-offs, on the show Studio 110.live, but can I expect a couple massive shout-outs for Dirty Harry and Studio 110.live in front of that crowd when you guys are up there? I'm sure you guys will obviously have mics that you guys can be, saying hello to the crowd too. So I don't think that's too much to ask for, isn't it?
No, definitely.
Of course,
not.
We definitely.
I don't want that to be the top priority, but you guys could practice in your bedrooms or your home studios. It's like, shout out to my guy Dirty Harry, Studio 110.live, Paradiso. Gave me the opportunity, stayed on an hour longer on a beautiful Friday afternoon to allow us to come in and perform for him and everybody else that watching and listening to the big show.
Of course, we definitely will.
And how about proper eyewear? It's going to be sunny out there. Have we thought about which sunglasses? There'll be a lot of pretty girls out there. I'm not asking you guys to go and invest into Dita, but that happens to be my favorite brand. And you got to be looking right, guys. You got to be thinking about this.
Sure.
I'm not saying for you guys to go and invest into your own personal stylist, but you have the gear looking right.
Of course, definitely. I definitely need to go shopping and
get some UV protection that looks cool.
Looks cool. The right hat. Yeah.
Definitely. We definitely
maybe some ear protection.
A change of outfit so you guys are a little bit disguised when you're getting off stage. After you guys perform, so you don't have every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming up to you asking you for autographs and pictures and stuff, and you got to have a little bit disguised, around it. So what can I expect today when you guys kick off your CDJs over there? You guys definitely got the right gear. That's definitely something that you got definitely going for yourselves, and I'm excited to see what I hear coming out of my headphones here momentarily. But just kind of give me a little bit of the flight plan on what we can expect here shortly.
So we recorded a mix for the Paradiso competition, and we're kind of gonna just go ahead and play that for you guys live. And we're probably not going to go for a whole hour, but we'll probably do like 30, 45 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Throw in a few different tracks too.
Exactly.
Maybe
Nolan wants to hop on for a second.
Yeah, I'm going to hop on and DJ a little bit too at the end.
So do you think Nolan's outfit is the right outfit to be wearing on stage at Paradiso? I mean, is that like something that you guys...
It's a little too warm.
Is that something that look? I got my guy KJ Sawka. What a nice
KJ's
surprise!
calling, bring him in.
KJ, thank you, Nolan, for telling me to pick up the phone. I appreciate it. I needed you to help me with that.
You're welcome.
I've got the legend and my new friend, someone that can appreciate delicious food and all-you-can-eat lunch buffet called the Araya's Buffet here in downtown Bellevue. My new friend KJ Sawka, arguably one of the top drummers in the world, on the line with me from sunny California.
What is up, yo?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm freaking all caught up in them. We're driving north on Highway 101. We just left the coast. We're going into sunny San Luis Obispo.
Nice. Typical Friday afternoon Los Angeles traffic. You're probably bumper to bumper, right?
No, we're totally out of the mayhem, out of the gridlock.
Oh, good.
And we are driving, and it is gorgeous. The clouds have dissipated. But you know what? I got to tell you, I sure miss Seattle.
We miss you too, man.
Beautiful up there.
And I haven't had a chance to talk to you since you're, I did off there, but now, of course, since we're on there, I wanted to bring up and touch upon your show that you did at Stage Nightclub last Friday night. Walk me through it. Hopefully this show helped you attract as many people as you could get into that venue, and everyone was happy overall.
It was a great overall experience. It was our third Impossible Records showcase. And we had our newest artist, Rebel Scum, open up tonight. Then we had local, amazing, and regional talent, Superstore, who I've done lots of collaborations with. And then my homie from Denver, Decadon, Donnie Miller, a badass. He's a bass producer as well as a guitar player. And then I closed out the night, and it was cool because we had... So I've got Super Square and I have a bunch of collaborations. So I jumped up on their set while they were playing, and that was exciting for the audience. And then when Decadon took stage, I jumped up with him. We got a bunch of collaborations going on, and then we segued into my set, and he has his live guitar up there. I have my MIDI drums, so we jammed and gave some people just fresh off the cuff. Crazy like rock bass music, improvised stuff that probably haven't really heard before, especially in a setting like that, like a DJ setting. And being on your show, I'm sure definitely helped. Hopefully some new faces were in there. We got exposed to some new music, a new friend, and hopefully had a really good night.
Well, I've got these two Nolan here. I'm terrible with names. Give me their names here again, real quick.
Well, you know Anthony Bullis. He came with me to my birthday at Lost Lands, and then the other guy is my buddy Joshua Shepard. He's from my area. He lived over by me in Roscoe, where he came on my birthday that one time. So we've all been friends for a while. But Anthony wanted to definitely say hi to you real quick.
What's up, KJ? How you doing?
Hey, man.
How you doing, man?
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, KJ, I one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the line here at Studio 110.live on this Friday afternoon, and we'll let you go here shortly because I want to be able to. I've been on the air longer than expected today, but that's what I'm about, man. I'm about addressing Northwest talent appropriately and showing love and respect to these guys trying to acquire their dream. And we've been talking about it for the last 20 minutes or so. These guys are trying to get their jump. They're trying to get their start. on winning the opportunity to open up for Paradiso. They've been perfecting their craft. They've been practicing a lot. I've been asking them all the crucial questions. Do they have their outfits picked out? Do they have their sunglasses picked out? Have they been practicing nonstop? Do they have the kind of the dream list of sponsorships that they want to be able to acquire, like you have, for example, if they're blessed for this type of opportunity? But just wanted you to just briefly come on and touch upon your recommendations for what you think they need to do to be able to win this big contest and ultimately, rise themselves to the occasion that you have for yourself, KJ Sawka.
Well, if I could sum it up in just a few sentences, I probably would say make the best music you possibly can make. And since it's mostly, rock music, bass music, bangers of all types of styles, I would probably focus somewhere around banger territory, but also super powerful melody, vocal can go a really, really long ways. So whatever it is that you produce, just make it really good. If you have to submit like one song, center your whole thinking around the musical elements of it, of your submission. And of course you got to have your branding on point too. Whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's kind of consistent. And it's true to yourself, and that goes for your music too. But just I would say the biggest thing is just stay true to yourself, and of course try to come up with something pretty original if you can. But if you veer too far into the originality, then you might be alone on the island for a while. But that's okay.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for that advice, KJ. We've definitely been working on a lot of stuff right now, and we've just been working on melodies and, trying to make the coolest stuff we can, honestly. But as for this competition, we submitted a mix, and we're, cool. Definitely put in the work this time, and I think we got a good shot at it. So, and I really appreciate your advice.
Cool, man. Well, I hope it goes far. I'm sure it's good. And yeah, wouldn't that be exciting to win the opening spot on the Paradiso stage?
It's a dream come true, man.
Nice, man. I got to play it once, I think, was it last year or the year before? The year before. And man, the sun was beating down, and people's laptops were freaking out. The CDJs were going nuts.
Wow.
And people were going nuts. Like, I think I was on the bass stage, whatever that's called, and I think it was I was second or third. It was pretty early, like 4 or 5 or 6 p.m. or something like that. All the people just started pouring in. It was such a good experience. Hats off to what USC has done for our Northwest community for bass music and overall electronic music for like a decade now or so.
Well, KJ, I know you're getting ready to embark on an off weekend, which you definitely deserve. You've been on the road a lot. You've been doing your thing, putting a lot of smiles on.
It's an on weekend. We're playing gigs.
Are you actually working this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you and the wife were having a little bit of downtime this weekend.
Oh well, it's downtime on the way to the gig, so it's always a bit of work and pleasure.
There you go. There you go.
It's perfect.
Well, I want to thank you for calling in today and just helping these guys out with the proper flight plan, and I'm sure what you provided to them will stay heavy in their brains, and they won't forget about it. And all the best to you, man. I thought it was an off weekend, but I'm sure you got big shows this weekend down there in your market, California, and I hope they're successful, sold out, just amazing shows.
Thanks, man. We're going to crush it. I'm doing a drum clinic, Ableton clinic, to teach all the homies, and then a performance at the Siren, which is a tiny little venue here in Morro Bay.
Nice.
So,
Well, we'll look forward to you getting back up here to the Northwest soon and getting you back here in the studio. And there's always things to be talking about. I know we're working on some stuff offline, off air, and I'll look forward to touching base with you either over the weekend or next week, man.
All right. Shouts out to the young producers out there and in studio, Nolan, Dirty Harry, your whole crew.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Thank you, KJ Sawka. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
This is KJ Sawka, definitely one of the best drummers in the world. Represents Destroyed and the other Pendulum, his other group that he represents, and performed in front of 1,300,000. Definitely a big deal in the EDM scene. KJ Sawka, welcome back to the show. Mr. Jeremy Todd here, the face, the brains, the mind, even though he's a humble guy and doesn't like to take the proper recognition for being the brains, but you currently are the brains of Popeye Energy Drink. You definitely wear the hat well. You've got, I think this is okay to say on the air, so I'm going to say it. Most people would dream to be able to just get a pallet of product coming in. You've got, roughly 300,000 plus cans on their way to you at the appropriate time when things fall into place. But I have no doubt in my mind that things won't fall into place like they absolutely will. And Popeye Energy Drink will be the summertime global, national, local beverage of choice for energy drinks. Because who wouldn't want to have real spinach in their can when they pop it open? Real healthy ingredients. Whole Foods should be knocking on your door at 3 a.m. wanting to do an exclusive partnership. So, and of course you're stylish as ever. You got the sunglasses on. The Jeremy Todd look is in full effect. So thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you've done to help be one of our heavy hitters behind the scenes to make all the proper productions fall into place today for the show. So I appreciate it. Hopefully it wasn't a stressful experience, and everything that I heard I was somewhat happy with. So hopefully hopefully I don't need to scream at anybody when I get off the air today. All right, good. If you're shaking your head, then all is okay. So, all right, so let's get back to business here. I wanted to definitely give my guy Jeremy the proper introduction like he definitely deserves. All right, what do you guys need to plug in? You guys can plug in right here, and I think you guys know more about this equipment than I do. I'm just a radio host, so I'm sure this will be the exact same board Paradiso will be offering you on stage. Yeah, wherever you guys want. So, I honestly don't know. No, Nolan's an engineer, so he can help you out. This is my master right here. So as long as you guys don't mess with this one right here, you guys should be fine. Nolan, which fade are they going to be on over here if they're plugged in there? Shouldn't they be here or here and on this one? But until you guys figure that out, I'm going to stay on and focused on what I do well at, and that's being a good radio host. Jeremy, any new news in the meantime here that you can provide to me about Popeye? Anything else that I need to know and the listeners need to know about Popeye Energy Drink?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me up here today.
No problem. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, especially coming after KJ Sawka of all people.
Yeah, that's wouldn't have it any other way. So
love them. That being said, yeah, there's a little more than 300,000 cans going to be here for summer.
Good.
Half of which will be the Bruiser Blackberry. We're bringing it back. It's sold out, but we're going to bring out our new Peach Mango. Well, I guess I just said that. Wasn't planning on, but anyways, people know. We're excited to have that come. We're excited with the growing relationship with 7-Eleven. Shout out to them. They've been amazing. I'm excited to see where this all goes.
Good.
So, but yeah,
Are you in the works of also having like the biggest yacht known to mankind at Seafair Weekend with Popeye Energy Drink draped around the boats, the hottest women in the Northwest throwing Popeye Energy Drink cans on other boats on the log boom while the Blue Angels fly over? Is that on the horizon, or just one more surprise we can't unveil yet?
Let's not unveil everything. I have friends with some boats, so
Good.
We'll see where that all heads.
See, you never know with me. See, you never know me. You never know.
I didn't know that question was coming, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the type of the show that I operate here. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I mean, that's just been doing this for a few years, so expect the frickin' unexpected at Studio 110.live. All right, hopefully everything. Nolan, hopefully you hooked this up properly because we're running low on time. I'm not going to stay on much longer than 4 o'clock. I've already been on for 8 hours today, so I definitely want to enjoy my weekend here at some point. Maybe I'll stay until like 4:05. Yeah. All right. Do you want to? I'm hearing some music here. Should I put up this fader right here, Nolan? You're the engineer here. Tell the person that you're texting to hold on. Radio is way more important than that conversation. Is this the fader that we need to put up? All right. If you want to turn that on, are you on over there?
I'm hearing something.
It's coming out this way. Is it coming out your way?
Go ahead and press play.
It's play.
I'm not hearing anything on.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's all. Everything's on my end. I'm not sure. I've always relied on engineers to fix these types of issues. No, that's not. That's definitely not.
Right here?
Yeah, this is. Yeah. Well, I'll put all of them up here. I don't think it'll matter, but I'm not hearing anything here on my end. Is our other engineer Aaron here in the building, or is he taken off for the weekend? If Aaron could possibly come in, that would be good. So Jeremy, I'm excited for what you have on deck for Popeye Energy Drink. There's a lot of energy drinks out there, but most of them don't supply the proper ingredients that you do. I mean, spinach is look. I mean, we read many articles on the New York Times and on local TV affiliates how important it is to take spinach into your daily dietary needs. These types of vegetables that you're providing in all your cans. For the general public to be able to enjoy.
It's 2018. We're still, this day and age, still discovering the benefits of it. It's phenomenal, to say the least.
Yeah.
But that aside, I mean, we're excited that the product is gluten-free. It's GMO-free. The majority of them have 70% juice in them, which makes them, as far as we know, the most in the industry. And we're excited just to see where this goes. We're excited to see what's going on in the industry as a whole. It just keeps growing year after year. We don't even know where it's at just yet. So
you're obviously doing something right if you've got 312,000 cans en route. Or
right?
Whatever it is. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, I just think that needs to be put out there to show how strong of a brand this really is.
It's exciting, when we think about, as we just keep making these production runs and the blackberry, it sells out. The other three flavors at the time when it was, we have obviously a few other recipes. I won't disclose all of them, but here we are. We'd seen this Bruiser Blackberry outsell the other three flavors put together.
Yep.
And so we're excited to bring it back and bring out this Peach Mango and see if maybe this Peach Mango dukes it out for that #1 spot.
Good. And hopefully it's okay to bring up, you've been having conversations with a lot of major, distribution companies out there that are very interested in what you're sitting on,
Right.
A lot of people do say it's a gold mine,
I mean, time will tell. Obviously, there's a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement, and that in itself is humbling. I heard you say, it's like, with KJ Sawka, I know you had him on the air for some time. Super humble gentleman. I think he's the best drummer that's out there. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I do too. And probably the nicest one too.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so, with what's going on in this industry, and with what Popeye closing in on his 90th year, there's going to be a global 90-year celebration for the life of Popeye coming up. It's kind of already in its infancy, starting now in other places outside of the United States that I've already seen. That aside, I mean,
and you were very fortunate and lucky to be able to have this thrown in your lap ultimately, correct?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, luck is kind of those things of opportunity and preparation coming together. I feel like I got lucky with it. I was looking for something like this. I knew that I wanted something that incorporated an active lifestyle, a very healthy lifestyle. And I was actually dabbling in the energy drink sector when this kind of came about. But I'm always trying to stay with healthier options within my diet outside of the drinks. And so this just kind of came together. Just in all honesty, it just made sense.
Well, it must be a nice feeling, when you're, walking into a random 7-Eleven in whichever city you are around, Western Washington, and an owner, comes up to you and says, "Man, your drink really is the top contender. I mean, your drink is what's selling in here, and we're trying to, keep it on shelves." And it's you can see the the success ratio in terms of what it's building out for the clientele.
Yeah, it's exciting to see their faces. AJ is the FOA president for 7-Eleven for Washington State, and it's kind of cool growing this friendship, this relationship. I think he's more. I was so excited just to offer it to the community, and I see the excitement within his eyes, and with his wife there. I think they know full well that for them, they feel like they came across maybe what could be possibly the new next energy drink brand. And I think that's, we just had another doctor want to, pull me aside in Oregon when I was down there. I didn't know the guy was a doctor. He pulled me aside and he was like, "I'm reading your ingredients. Do you know what you have here?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like really emphasizing on the fact that it had such low sodium. I didn't realize that the other brands were having some, I just, I guess it made sense, but, I don't know why the need for it. So yeah, we're offer real low sodium with this energy drink.
And sodium affects a lot of people. I mean, I know every time I go to the doctor, for a physical, they check your sodium levels, and sodium. A lot of sodium can raise, blood pressure and cause a lot of people problems.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so are we up and going over here now?
Play from the speaker to the microphone.
Oh, we're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's what we'll have to do. All right, this that particular microphone is up, and we can fire this off here.
All right. So you guys are voting for who we are. If you want to win that Paradiso free ticket. Shout out to Dirty Harry for letting us promote.
Laying on the floor in the doorway, looking at these pictures, nothing left to say. We were meant to grow old. Now these feelings take hold. Are we ever gonna be okay again? Keep on trying, maybe it's too late. Keep on lying, now it's such a strain. Are we ever gonna be okay?
All right, everybody, make sure you're all out there voting for who we are. I put the contest link at the top of the page. Everybody go out there and share, vote, like this. Studio 110.live with Dirty Harry, Erica Herrera, sponsored by Popeye's Energy Drink. Let's go. Let's see it, Anthony. He's being nice and mellow for y'all out there. And if you're just having fun in traffic, listening to us, that's what we want. You guys are all stuck. It's Friday. Get to where you want to go. But listen to us and tune into the show. Let's go.
Shout out to USC, Paradiso, all the judges out there. Yeah, I am going on right now and putting in a good word for my guys. They should be the damn winners. They should be opening up Paradiso. I'm not saying anything about the other contenders, but man, these guys are doing their thing. Studio 110.live, y'all, man. We're rocking out here on a Friday afternoon, kicking off the weekend, doing what we do out here. The sunshine is out. We're about to kick off this weekend. If someone's doing a barbecue, man, hit us up. We'll supply the veggie burgers, the veggie dogs, Popeye energy drink. We'll be doing it, y'all. Studio 110.live with my special guest here in the studio. Giddy up. Come on. I feel like I'm in Q Nightclub on Capitol Hill or stage. We're rocking out here today on this Friday afternoon, Studio 110.live. Come on.
sip champagne. When I sip champagne. Chop it with my bitches. When I sip champagne. When I sip champagne. When I sip champagne. Chop it with my bitches. Chop, chop. Chop it with my bitches. Chop, 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 chop it with my
I've never seen such infinite beauty in my life. I'm part of it. This is reality. Can't you feel it?
Yeah. All right, this is the last song that we're moving into. It's a little something by Jensen Johns, but I rap on it. And I want to thank you guys for all watching the show. We're about to get into the end of it. Make sure you go out there and vote. Who we are, you know the link. Share this. Make sure you guys continue to watch. I'm sure if we get enough good recognition, Harris might let us come in like every Friday and play for you guys. You never know. We might have another Paradiso ticket to give away next week. Shout out to the sponsor, Popeye Energy. It's got spinach in it too, boo. And Harris, I've never seen you dance before. I mean, if you can get Harris up to get cracking. Yeah. All right, Seattle, y'all ready? I turn up very often. You turn up in a coffin. You think you're going hard, but you're more like fresh big cotton. These beats we be dropping. Got your head knocking. I stay up in her dreams. Got your girl sleepwalking, cause she popped them out. Now she feeling lit. Got your girlfriend hitting number. But it's my old number, that sidekick. When I'm in the club, she trying to spit, but I'm too busy up on stage with my girl. Her name's Onyx, and we wouldn't fuck with you if you brought back the Sonics. After hours got us up all night. Now we gotta book a different flight. Get all I got money to blow in about 2 days to the next show. So call the crew, yeah, call the gang, cause we about to show y'all motherfuckers how to really go. And so turn up, turn up. If you out there in your car stuck in traffic, I want you turning up. If you're out there just on the bus waiting for it, I want you to turn up. If you're doing anything, just turn up. Woo! I'd say that's a good show. What do you think, Harry?
I think it was a great show today.
I think we definitely have enough energy from Popeye for this show.
And I want to thank our special in studio guests here. If these guys can here get to a microphone here. Who's got a microphone? We got stuff all around the studio here. I want to first off, man, you guys brought an incredible amount of energy to the studio this Friday afternoon. You guys definitely came in here and rocked it. And like Nolan said, if I'm getting up and dancing with my dancing skills, which are just horrible, I have absolutely, people invite me all the time. Hey, do you want to go dancing? You want to go out? And
it's all about confidence, Harry. You just got to go out there.
And I'm good at what I do. I'm good at being a radio host, and I'm good at hosting shows. But that's why I just don't dance, and that's why you guys are damn good at getting behind these CDJs and rocking it. And now I really see what you guys have up your sleeve, and hoping that you guys have nothing but success, man, in this competition. And I want to see you guys shine
next Friday and give away another ticket.
Quite possibly. I want to see you guys shine and just carry the throne, man. And hopefully you guys will have the opportunity to open up for this iconic festival, referred to as Paradiso, out here in the Northwest. Shout out to Chad and everybody at USC that works extremely hard behind the scenes to bring this event into a full landscape. I also want to thank KJ Sawka for calling in today and giving you guys some tips. And hopefully it was a good experience for you guys, man. Hopefully you guys are ready to take the crown and the key to the castle, open up that door, and just rock it, man. Tear the roof off that mo.
Thank you guys so much for having us out. Honestly, this has been awesome. And
Good.
letting us come out and play and perform and letting Nolan rap. It was pretty awesome.
Did you guys feel like you were on the Paradiso stage when you were in here today? Of course.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, there's 6 people in here.
Hey, it doesn't matter if it's 6 or 6 million. You play, man. When you play, you play.
Right, absolutely. So I'm sure you guys will be leaving the studio shortly and going home and practicing more.
Of course, we got a lot of work to do, but we're ready to do it.
Have any of the neighbors in the neighborhood, called in any noise complaints that you guys are so passionate about this, or everything's
They're
fine
all
around
old
the
people. They can't hear us.
Well, I don't know where these guys live. So
Lake Tabs. And
Lake
this
Tabs.
guy lives around a lot of nice people in like Seattle, West Seattle. No, wait, East Seattle.
Yeah, they're
by Beacon.
They're really cool.
There you go. Well, hopefully I've been able to provide you guys here and the team today a good platform to
shout out Jeremy Popeyes one last
Jeremy,
time
yes,
for
thank you,
giving away the Paradiso ticket. And Erica, do you want to let us know when we're going to actually be giving away the ticket?
We will be giving away the ticket on the next show, Monday. So stay tuned from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Studio110.live.
Don't forget to like the page and vote.
And Jeremy,
that's the only way you can be entered is if you vote for them to be on stage at Paradiso, baby.
And Jeremy, thank you very much. Studio110.live. Yes, definitely. Those Instagram followers
share this viewing too.
Those Instagram followers should be approaching 10,000 after today's show. So with all the hard work here behind the scenes, is it a safe question? Are we in safe harbor, Jeremy? With all the capabilities and all the illustrations that you have up your sleeve in terms of everything that you do here for Studio110.live, for some guy who wants to take a girl on a date that wants to wear that magnificent diamond encrusted rusted watch on your wrist. Could that be? Could that be? Could that be put out there for? I mean, of course, we would go with them, so they couldn't go too far. But just to be able to wear that watch on a date, to say that Jeremy Todd from Popeye, provided that, I mean,
It's just stuff.
Just stuff.
Yeah. There was no emotional attachment to it. It's more than anything. It was just when I got it over a decade ago. It was just a constant reminder of time. So yeah, I mean, I value other people's time. I hope they value mine. I value this. This was amazing, you guys. I did not think I was gonna wake up and this would be my Friday. So
yeah, you guys are all welcome. I mean, I was just chilling in the garage and I was like, it'd be tight if we did tomorrow. Here we go.
Expect the unexpected on the show.
Always.
So I hope we all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. I know it's supposed to be nice out here on the West Coast and the Northwest this weekend, and look forward to having you guys back in.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be next Friday. Maybe it'll be in, when you guys, conquer the dream and you guys come in and say, Dirty Harry, it was great to be on your show, Studio 110.live, and I opened up for Paradiso.
Can I add one more thing?
You can.
Aside from the drinks, come Monday, I want to donate an extra case of energy drinks as well. So if you could do that as well.
There you go. Very nice. And will this be one of the cases that is currently here or on the way?
It's here.
It's here right now.
It's downstairs right now. So we'll leave some here.
There you go. All right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there, Nolan.
Yeah.
If I actually had a shower towel to give to you with all the head bopping and grooving that happened during that stage performance here in the studio.
Head bopping?
Yeah, there's head bopping.
Say 1950. We head bang over here, Harry.
I'm doing head bopping. That's what I'm doing. So I stay in my lane. That's what I do. So, all right. Well, I'm going to sign off. I've been on for 3 hours today.
Yeah, it was a great show.
And normally I'm on 2 hours until we extend the show. But I'm ready to kick off the weekend. Take these headphones off. Step out of the studio and just do
air.
just do what I do. So, all right.
Do what you do, baby.
Do what I do. All right.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for
thanks
coming
for having
in.
us out.
Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll be back at it with you. We'll be seeing you, talking to you, and hanging with you Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 Pacific Standard Time, Studio 110.live. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. Peace and love and